Starting a renovation project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for all your essentials at our 10 stores island-wide. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
nationwide time 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A Pure Water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, 3 candidates have been nominated for the Northeast St. Anne by-election.
Electoral officials report smooth proceedings on nomination day.
Our assessment at the web, there was no incident that was reported to us at the end of the exercise at 2 p.m. 3 persons were duly nominated to contest the election on September 30th.
NIA calls for stricter by-election regulations.
Fire chief says gas, air, and heat likely cause of Wednesday's explosion at Burger King.
In news from the rest of the world, assault charges dismissed against Antiguan parliamentarian.
Hurricane Francine barrels towards Louisiana as a Category 2 storm.
In headline sports, a global track and field superstar pulls out of Diamond League final over failure to agree financial terms with the organizers.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, 3 candidates have been nominated for the Northeast St. Anne by-election set for September 30. We'll hear from the independent candidate David Fritz Anderson and the candidate representing the United Independents Congress, Chase Neal.
In public opinion at 6:26, we'll ask, who won the debate, Trump or Kamala? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio. You can also message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693 or leave a comment on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, Manchester has been rocked by a surge of violence resulting in the deaths of 5 people in a single week. Commanding Officer for the Police Division, DSP Harry Duncan, will join us.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile. Nationwide 90FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, September 11, 2024.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90FM.
And now to the details. 3 candidates have been nominated for the by-election in Northeast St. Anne, slated for September 30. They are the JLP's Matthew Samuda, independent candidate David Fritz Anderson, and Chase Neal of the United Independents Congress, the UIC. The People's National Party has decided to boycott the by-election. Dana Davey reports.
The governing JLP has held the seat since March 2001. On Wednesday, nominations took place at the constituency's office of the returning officer in St. Anne's Bay. The proceedings ended at 2 this afternoon. All individuals wishing to contest the election were required to pay 15,000 Jamaican dollars and complete a nomination form signed by 10 or more electors registered to vote in the constituency. The JLP's Matthew Samuda says he's looking forward to victory.
Today is about the new phase of the journey of the development of Northeast St. Anne, and we look forward to the next phase. Once we get through the next 2.5 weeks, we expect to do very well in the by-election. We expect to be victorious, and I'm eager, and the Prime Minister can tell you to get started with the work of the day. There is many development needs of the place. There is many development needs of our people. But 2.5 weeks, we don't want to put the cart before the horse. We'll get through the finish line, and we'll do so convincingly. But I have no illusion that there is no independence in the independent.
Independent candidate David Anderson, who's also known as 5 Pound, was nominated shortly before noon. He entered the nomination center flanked by 10 people. Anderson expressed confidence at his prospects of winning the by-election.
Primarily, I'm a son of the soil. So I wasn't brought from anywhere come here. This shirt that I wore says Jamaica for a specific reason. So I don't choose a shirt that don't have on anything on it. I make sure to do this as a mark to say, listen, this is to show that I'm a Jamaican, I have no other affiliation, and I'm here to defend Jamaica and Jamaicans.
Meanwhile, Chase Neal of UIC faced an initial setback at the start of Wednesday's proceedings. He lacked the support of the 10 registered voters from the constituency needed to complete the nomination process. However, with only minutes left in the polling period, Neal was able to secure his spot. Speaking with our news team, Neal says he's ready for the job.
Yes, I'm ready for the process. It just feels like it's time to get to work and get the people to decide whether they will vote to support this corrupt movement by the government or they will give voice to show that we are not in line with what you are doing. The feeling is now we need to get to work. The reality of politics now is that the common man is kept out of politics because of the need for resources as it is now. With the other parties being backed by private interests and so forth, we don't have that source. So we have to use methods that are more realistic. We will be doing a lot of outreach through farming networks on the ground and also through social media.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Director of Elections Glaspole Brown says Wednesday's nomination day proceedings in Northeast St. Anne went smoothly. Shalois Michael has that side of the story.
The nomination day process ended promptly at 2 p.m. Mr. Brown, who spoke with our news team on location, says the proceedings were seamlessly executed.
Our assessment that went very well. There was no incident that was reported to us at the end of the exercise at 2 p.m. 3 persons were duly nominated to contest the election on September 30th.
The Director of Elections says the Electoral Office will now advance preparations for the September 30 by-election. Chief among them is the training of workers and the preparation of ballots.
We will be ready to go into another phase. Now that we have the nominees, we begin to do the preparation of the ballot, the printing of the list, and putting the logistics in place, and all that needs to be done. We have identified the polling stations already. There are the 146 polling stations in this constituency. On the voters list, you have 40,246 registered electors. So we are putting everything in place. The county center is already established.
Mr. Brown is also urging voters in the constituency who have yet to collect their identification cards to do so.
We do urge the electors in this constituency. There are approximately 3,000 ID cards that still remains in offices, and we are appealing for the persons who have not yet collected their cards to visit our office at St. Anne's Bay and pick up the card prior to election. It helps the process in terms of a smoother process of electors on election day. So if you have not yet picked up your card and you're a member of this constituency, visit our office in St. Anne's Bay and pick up your card.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
And the police report that Wednesday's nomination day process was incident-free. The commanding officer for the St. Anne Police Division, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, says police personnel were deployed from as early as 8 in the morning.
I just want to extend commendation to the police team in St. Anne for the very skillful execution of the nomination day's activity. So we started our deployment promptly around 8 o'clock this morning, where we started to man the various points within the town. The nomination lasted between 10 and 2. The effort was incident-free.
SSP Dwight Powell, the head of the St. Anne Police. The senior superintendent says the police will be ramping up efforts to ensure the September 30 by-election is just as smooth.
The civil society group National Integrity Action NIA is adding its voice to calls for stricter regulations governing the timelines for by-elections in the House of Representatives. In a statement released on Wednesday, NIA Principal Director Daniel Archer criticized Wednesday's by-election in Northeast, that should be Wednesday's nomination, in Northeast St. Anne, in which only one major party candidate was nominated. She describes the slate as an effective lack of choice, which she says could lead to a skewed electoral outcome. Ms. Archer says the situation is risked on each occasion where there is undue or politically motivated delay in holding by-elections. She pointed out that such delays undermine democratic representation, citing the prolonged wait of nearly a year for a by-election in South Trelawney, following the resignation of former House Speaker Marissa Dalrymple Philibert. Ms. Archer argues that the people of South Trelawney deserve timely representation in Parliament. She's suggesting that parliamentary by-election procedures should mirror those of the Local Government Act of 2016. Under the Act, a by-election must be held within 90 days of a municipal vacancy notification. The NIA Principal Director proposes adopting a similar time frame for parliamentary by-elections to ensure a more efficient and representative electoral process.
Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, says the suspected cause of Wednesday morning's explosion at the Burger King branch in New Kingston is a mixture of gas, ambient air and heat. The explosion happened sometime after 11 this morning with several patrons and staff inside the store. The commissioner spoke with Nationwide News following the incident.
As you know, gas is lighter than air, so it will seep into the building and it will be at the lowest level or lowest point of that building, which will be the floor. And so what happened is sufficient amount of it would have seeped into the building, mixed the ambient air that would have been in the environment, and that would have created, or there would have certain level of pressure that would have been built up in the building. And so that pressure, with the introduction of a heat source, whether it was the flipping of a light switch or the turning on of a cooker, that would have now presented the opportunity for that explosion.
Commissioner Beckford says there are similarities between Wednesday's explosion and another one that took place at another New Kingston restaurant in 2020.
There are similarities in that it was a similar occurrence where they smelled gas, called in the supplier, they came in, did their work and gave the all clear. And of course, they had an explosion because somebody would have now turned on a stove or light a stove. It is not connected, but they are similar in nature. The facts are almost identical. Gas leak smelled. Staff called in the provider of the service or the supplier. They came in, did their checks, take the corrective actions as they deem fit, and would have given the all clear. Staff went back in, start to do what they do, which is cook. Then the next thing you have an explosion. So they're not connected, but they are very much similar.
Stuart Beckford, the Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. The frantic search for a man who was swept away by floodwaters on Tuesday ended tragically with the discovery of his body near Majestic Gardens in St. Andrew today. The deceased has been identified as 19-year-old Rajon Melbourne. As you'll hear in this report from Robian Williams, his demise was perhaps a cruel twist of fate.
Rajon Melbourne was one of two people washed into a gully at Content Drive off Malines Road during heavy rainfall on Tuesday afternoon. Residents of Majesty Gardens say he jumped into the raging waters to help a woman trapped by the current. They say she was attempting to rescue her pig, which had fallen into the flooded gully.
The woman and her hug, the woman I catch her hug in the gully, And
she never know the gully come over, but
you
like him the same time.
You see, because when them family come and I say him sick, but the tree helpful, he may not jump off the water and say him have to save the woman, you see it. So fame life end up get take, the woman save and I hug save my boss, you see it. From last night, some people that look for him, God save you, God all seal side, God board. Enough people no sleep, them a look for him. Them no really have no sense, cause look, them they are focused on the big hog and now focused on the youth life. Them could have look for youth more than the hog. Cause me a man say pass the rope in a kid, but they the youth them find them boss. Take a top, it's a big hog them find my boss. More than them fear look for youth and try to save the youth life, you see it.
A resident, Anthony Sutherland, detailed how he managed to save the woman.
So me look and see her now, me say, hold on pan a pallet there. You see me, I go save you. So she say, me can't swim. Help me please, me I beg you, me I go dead. You see me? So she hold on pan the pallet, but by the time I run off and go round, so she pass under the gully. So yeah, so now, you have a part to float up, because when the gully come down, so you have to get high, So anyway, me still run, go down pan the bank, same way. So me look, me see she rise up back now. So the position where she come up in a position against the banking with me there. So me lock my foot pan the gully side. Like how you know a jockey lock on pan her ass and stretch over and wait pan her so with the eagle claw and grab her in her neck and draw her into me now and hold her so with me and she said, please no let me go, no make me dead. Me say, you're not dead, man.
Sutherland says he had to call for help from other residents to pull the woman from the gully.
The pressure with the goalie I push with, and she so weighty again. Me have to start ball for some people, that's why I'm hosting her. Ball for some people say, wanna come help me, come in all let her go. At the same time, a youth come and grab her foot and drove her. And when she drop over now, she say, thank you, me love you, and just faint way. When she faint way, me have to slap her up on her jaw so, and say, wake up, you're dead. And she say, no, me not dead. You see me? So I say, alright, don't dead for me, you know. You see me? So be people start come round now, So I say, what happened to the youth? Them say, I'm gone. Nobody no find it.
He says the woman had several lacerations on her body. She was taken to hospital for treatment.
She cut up, chop up, foot chip off, her belly full of water, all them thing there. A dangerous sight yesterday, man. But through the braveness of me, cause nobody now jump na the goalie for her. And nobody now stretch over in the goalie for her. Cause nobody now want drown. Father God just send me for come save her. Give thanks to my baby mother Tina. And she come take me out of my house. If it never she, that woman there that dead. If the water come up, it come up to the brim. She couldn't even stand up in it. And the water just have her so. And my sister, she got dead now. So I just slap the goalie and grab her. Cause nobody at all now go against the goalie.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rent-to-Kill Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rent-to-Kill Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rent-to-Kill is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay. Continuing the news, President and CEO of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, AAJ, Audley Diedrich, says there has been no review of MBJ Airports Limited's off-site ambulance arrangement at Sangster International Airport since 2003. Mr. Diedrich was speaking on Nationwide this morning on Wednesday in relation to the airport's emergency response arrangements. It follows the death of 71-year-old Leroy Smith at the facility on September 4 while waiting for an ambulance. Mahiri Stewart reports.
MBJ took over operation of Sangster International Airport from the government in 2003. At that time, the concessionaire submitted its proposal for operation to the airport's authority. Mr. Diedrich says the oversight body accepted the proposal, which included emergency response plans for off-site ambulance services.
The airport's authority, in its capacity as concession grantor to MBJ Airports Limited and overseer of that concession agreement, does and in fact carries out reviews and acceptance or non-acceptance, no objections to proposals that they make for decisions and contracting. So there is a reporting process where these things are done through and a review process that also adjusts them if they need to be adjusted.
He says the authority did not see the need to review the arrangement. For one thing, he says it is allowable under international standards to have an on-call ambulance as opposed to an on-site one. Diedrich says prior to September 4, there were no adverse cases regarding the emergency response mechanism.
It was deemed appropriate should I say adequate given how it is structured, and there were no cases up to this point in time or hitherto that suggests that there needs to be a review of this particular provision.
But the AAJ head says last Wednesday's incident has prompted a review of the arrangement. The authority now wants MBJ Airports to provide an on-site ambulance.
Unfortunately, given what has transpired, that there is further review now taking place by the airport's authority with the airport operator with this particular aspect of its emergency response, meaning the provision of an ambulance on the airport.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is criticizing MBJ Airports Limited for attempting to shift the blame for the events leading up to Mr. Smith's death. Dr. Tufton says MBJ should take responsibility for not having an ambulance on the airport grounds.
I think it's in very poor taste that the management and operators of the Sangster Airport have chosen to send a release out which is attempting to shift responsibility that they have for their clients, their customers, because of this very unfortunate and tragic incident. It's in poor taste because they're attempting, it seems, to absolve themselves from responsibility to have an effective emergency response facility. It's in poor taste because it is insensitive to the grieving and the suffering that the deceased family members would be encountering at this point in time.
On Tuesday, MBJ says Smith's collapse was not a slip and fall or any other type of accident on the airport's part. MBJ added that contrary to several reports, emergency services responded to Mr. Smith in a timely manner. Dr. Tufton says he's met with Transport Minister Darrell Vaz to discuss the gaps surrounding emergency responses at airports.
I think that as a government, myself as the Minister of Health and the Minister with responsibility for transport, Darrell Vaz, have been talking and need to continue the dialogue to respectfully, particularly to the grieving family members, try to bring some resolution to this issue in a way that does not see a reoccurrence where the issues around emergency response seems to have had gaps. The truth is, any international airport needs to have on-site and emergency response service.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. The assault charges against former Antiguan parliamentarian Dean Jonas have been dismissed. Jonas was the Member of Parliament for St. George and Minister of Social Transformation and Gender Affairs. In dismissing the charges, Magistrate Dane Hamilton Jr. said the police had failed to serve Jonas with the new charges. He also referenced a violation of Jonas's constitutional rights. Section 15 of the Constitution mandates that a person must be afforded a fair hearing within a reasonable time. The charges stem from an incident at Jonas's Scotts Hill home in February 2023. They include resisting arrest, making threatening statements, disorderly conduct, assault, and battery.
In the United States, Hurricane Francine is barreling towards Louisiana, having strengthened to a Category 2 storm. The hurricane is expected to make landfall later on Wednesday, crashing into a fragile coastal region not fully recovered from a series of devastating hurricanes in 2020 and 2021. Francine could bring deadly storm surges, widespread flooding, and destructive winds on the northern U.S. Gulf Coast. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry urged residents to stay off the roads. Landry said the Louisiana National Guard is being deployed to areas that could be impacted. He says the Guard is equipped with food, water, nearly 400 high-water vehicles, 100 boats, and 50 helicopters to respond to the storm.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, 3 candidates have been nominated for the Northeast St. Ann by-election.
Electoral officials report smooth proceedings on nomination day.
National Integrity Action calls for stricter by-election regulations.
Fire chief says gas, air, and heat likely cause of Wednesday's explosion at Burger King.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Welcome to our Active Corner, brought to you by Active Home Center. Are you ready to upgrade your bathroom? It's time to choose the perfect toilet for your space. First, consider the size of your bathroom. Measure the space where the toilet will be installed so it fits comfortably. Also, decide if you'd want a standing toilet or one that floats from the wall to suit your style. Did you know toilets can conserve water too? Look for toilets with a green water sense label that uses less water when flushing. Also, consider soft close toilet seats that close slowly and quietly. Shop toilets in our showroom today. Tune in at this time for more from Active Home Center.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker, and we start with the latest scores in Manning under Costa Cup schoolboy football games on at the moment. In the Manning Cup Calabar, they were leading 3-0 over Haile Selassie, and Stats and Vauxhall at the moment, they're goalless. Over in the Water, the Costa Cup, last season's beaten finalists Glenmuir High were all over Porus. They lead them by 13 goals to nil. Dustin Coyne and Orel Miller have both scored hat-tricks. Elsewhere around the league, Green Pond leads Malden by 2 goals to 1. Irwin and St. James are 2-2. Mannings, they lead Black River by 1 goal to nil. Monroe also leading their game 1-0 over Lacovia. BB Coke and Newell are goalless. Garvey Maceo, they lead Ver Technical 1-0. Paul Bogle and St. Thomas Tech are goalless. So too Seaforth and Morant Bay and Knox and Alston. Chief Executive Officer of Premier League Jamaica Limited, Premier League, that's PFJL, Owen Hill, says the move to extend the upcoming season to 39 regular season games per team is largely to give the local players more visibility. The 2024-25 season, which kicks off this weekend, was officially launched on Tuesday night at the New Kingston's offices of the title sponsors Ray and Nephew. The last 3 seasons of the league was played over 2 regular season rounds before the playoffs. However, Hill told Nationwide Sports at the launch last night that returning to the 3 rounds was just the correct thing to do, and it is in line with the international best practices.
When you look at the number of games that are played globally, we thought that for the development of our players, we need to actually match or supersede. We need more games. So it was a no-brainer. We were at the discussion table for quite some time. I mean, the stakeholders actually knew, and the idea of getting more games will help everybody all around. So yes, you get more playing time for players. You can, reduce strategies, etc. But you also get an opportunity to get, more visibility, etc.
And Hill says the intention of the PFJL is to have every team going back to play on their home turf once they meet the requirement.
Every team will be playing on their home ground once it is approved by the JFF Competitions Committee. So that is important. We need it to be approved, but every team will be playing on their home ground. So the teams that are coming into the league, the 2 new ones, they've found partnerships. So they'll be playing essentially at venues that can facilitate the television, but also if there's games that you may not want to play in those instances, then they'll be playing at their home venues.
And he says everything is in place for Sunday's start of the league, which will feature a double-header at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex.
We're very ready, we're excited, we're elated. I think the football buzz is across the world, and by extension, we in Jamaica, we look forward to just wanting to be a part of that space. And again, we're excited that we're kicking off in a couple of days' time.
Owen Hill, CEO of Professional Football Jamaica Limited. Cristiano Ronaldo has criticized Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag and said the club must rebuild everything in order to compete for football's biggest prizes again. The Dutch boss is under pressure after United's 8th place finish last season, their lowest in Premier League history, and 2 defeats in their opening 3 games at the start of this campaign. Ronaldo, who had 2 spells at the club before leaving for Saudi Arabian side Al Nasser, questioned Ten Hag's mentality. In his 6-year first spell at Manchester United, Ronaldo won 3 Premier League titles, the Champions League, 2 League Cups and an FA Cup, as well as the FIFA Club World Title and Community Shield before transferring to Real Madrid in 2009. He rejoined United from Juventus in August of 2021 and scored a total of 145 goals in 346 appearances for the club before he moved to the Middle East in December of 2022. 20 Jamaicans will be seeking Diamond League glory when they compete in the 2-day final in Brussels on September 13 and 14. The trio of Tajay Gale, Kerry McLeod and Wayne Pinnock will compete in the men's long jump final. Daniel Thomas Dodd will go in the women's shot put, and Rajendra Campbell, a national record holder, will contest the men's event. The duo of Akeem Blake and Rohan Watson will run in the men's 100 meters. Frederick Dakers is the lone Jamaican in the men's discus. Triple jump women will will feature Shanika Ricketts and Akeelia Smith. Natoya Gould-Toppin runs in the women's 800 meters. Rashawn Clark and Malik James King will line up in the men's 400 meters hurdles, while Anjanette Knight, Genevieve Russell and Sean Summon will run in the women's race. Romaine Beckford will contest the men's high jump, and Akira Nugent and Daniel Williams will run in the 100 meters hurdles. Meanwhile, newly minted Olympic champion Grant Holloway has taken to social media to announce that he will not be participating in Brussels. Holloway says he and his team have been unable to reach agreement with the meet directors, adding that it is a shame that they're doing athletes like that. Holloway was the odds-on favorite to be crowned Diamond League's winner this season after dominating the 2024 season, which saw him adding Olympic 110-meter hurdles gold to the 60 meters title he won at the World Indoors in Glasgow in March. And finally, in sports at this time, a new-look England side slumped to a 28-run defeat to Australia in the first T20 International at the Utilia Bowl. Australia made a blistering start with Travis Head smashing 59 from 23 balls as he and the opening partner Matthew Short put on 86 in the first 6 overs. But England, who handed T20 debuts to 3 players and were captained by Phil Salt for the first time, produced a superb fight back to bowl the tourists out for 179. The spinners led the way. Liam Livingston bagged 3 for 22, and Adil Rashid, he bagged impressive 1 for 23 from his 4, while seamers Jofra Archer and Saqib Mahmood claimed 2 wickets apiece. However, England's chances went in trouble early as 3 wickets went down in the power play. Livingston and Sam Curran gave them hope with a 54-run stand for the 5th wicket, but then they departed in quick succession. England's long tail was exposed and they were bowled out for 151 in the final over. The teams will now head to Cardiff for the second T20 on Friday before the 3-match series concludes at Old Trafford on Sunday with the final game. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Can you imagine getting a marketable skill for free? Your government has made it possible for anyone wanting to learn a skill to get free training through the Heart and STA Trust. Learn a new skill and expand your horizons.
The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:31.
On Sunday, August 11th, in the quiet community of Cherry Tree Lane in Clarendon, our entire nation was shaken by a brutal act of violence.
Gangsters mercilessly took the lives of 8 innocent Jamaicans, including a 7-year-old boy.
These criminals will strike again, destroying more families and more communities, unless we stand together to stop them.
If you have any information that can help bring these killers to justice, please share it with the security forces.
The government has established a reward fund of $25 million for information leading to the arrest and charge of
the perpetrators who committed this heinous act,
the facilitators who supplied them with arms, intelligence and transportation,
and those who harbor and protect these criminals after the crime.
If you know something, please say something. Call Crime Stop at 311, Mocha at 888-6622-847, NIB at 811, or JDF at 837-8888.
Together, we will defeat the gangs
and develop a culture of peace in our country.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Ministry of National Security.
Hey, did you know that the Jamaica Stock Exchange has a loyalty program?
No, what?
Well, as a JSE Loyalty Club member, you are now able to earn rewards when you shop at any of the participating merchants island-wide.
But I don't own any stocks and I'm not a member.
No problem, man. Join the program by downloading the JSE Loyalty app, activate your account, and start racking up points with every purchase. Redeem points for goods and services at any participating merchant or choose to convert them into stocks.
So what if I already have stocks?
That's even better. It means that you are pre-enrolled on the program. You only need to download the app and activate. Start your portfolio, grow your portfolio, join our loyalty program and earn, save, or invest. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, where loyalty builds financial performance.
Taboo topics.
Bulletins after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boyatings After Dark.
Cliff Says is by far the most popular mid-morning radio segment in Jamaica. Cliff Hughes shares his views on the hot-button topics of the day, editorializing on various issues in the news, breaking news stories, and expounding on stories. Cliff Says sets the tone of the show for the rest of the day. Join the award-winning journalist Cliff Hughes weekdays during Cliff Hughes Online at 10 to 10:30 a.m. Join the revolution in media.
Cliff Says is brought to you by Educom Credit Union, providing value through service, and Hyundai, modern premium affordable vehicles. Cover story is brought to you by Hyundai, modern premium affordable vehicles.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 4.99% interest rate. Yes! Shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 4.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 4.99%. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5 this Wednesday afternoon. It's 5:35. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
How are you, Siobhan?
Well enough.
Good. Good afternoon to our listeners. Hello to you if you're joining us on radio. Good afternoon to our friends on YouTube. And if you're joining us online, on the website or on the app, welcome. Happy to have you. Now, before we get into what we have planned for you for the cover story, I heard a remarkable story, Siobhan, in the 5 o'clock bulletin. I read the lead into a remarkable story. And I just want to play it again because I think while it describes and reports a tragic incident, the reporting is so crisp and vivid that I think I just want our listeners to hear it again. So, listeners, the frantic search for a man who was swept away by floodwaters on Tuesday ended tragically today with the discovery of his body near Majestic Gardens in St. Andrew. And the deceased has been identified as 19-year-old Rajon Melbourne. And as you'll hear in this report from Roby and Williams, his demise was perhaps a cruel twist of fate.
Rajon Melbourne was one of 2 people washed into a gully at Content Drive off Malines Road during heavy rainfall on Tuesday afternoon. Residents of Majesty Gardens say he jumped into the raging waters to help a woman trapped by the current. They say she was attempting to rescue her pig, which had fallen into the flooded gully.
The woman and her hug, the woman I catch her hug in the gully, And she told them to wash her, like him see same time. You see, because one of them family come and I say, him sick. But the tree helpful, he may not jump off the water and say, have to save the woman, you see it. So, fame life end up get take, the woman save and I hug save my boss, you see it. From last night, some people that look for him, God save you, God whole hillside, God board. Enough people no sleep, them a look for him. Them no really have no sense, cause look, them they are focused on the big hog and now focused on the youth life. Them could have look for youth more than the hog. Cause me a man say pass the rope in a kid, but they the youth them find them boss. Take a tap, it's a big hog them find my boss. More than them fear look for youth and try to save the youth life, you see it.
A resident, Anthony Sutherland, detailed how he managed to save the woman.
So me look and see her now, I say, hold on pan a pallet there. You see me, I go save you. So she say, me can't swim. Help me please, me I beg you, me I go dead. You see me? So she hold on pan the pallet, but by the time I run off and go around, so she pass under the gully. So yeah, so now you have a part to float up, because when the gully come down, so you know, you have to get high, you know. So anyway, I still run, go down pan the bank, same way. So when I look, me see she rise up back now. So the position where she come up in a position against the banking with me there. So I lock my foot pan the gully side. Like how you know a jockey lock on pan her ass and stretch over and wait pan her so with the eagle claw and grab her in her neck and draw her into me now and hold her so with me and she said, please no let me go, no make me dead. Me say, you're not dead, man.
Sutherland says he had to call for help from other residents to pull the woman from the gully.
The pressure with the goalie I push with, and she so weighty again. Me have to start ball for some people, that's why I'm a host, you know. Ball for some people say, wanna come help me, come and all let her go. At the same time, a youth come and grab her foot and drove her. And when she drop over now, she say, thank you, me love you, and just faint way. When she faint way, me have to slap her up on her jaw, so. And say, wake up, you're dead. And she say, no, me no dead. You see me? So me say, alright, don't dead for me, you know. You see me? So be a people start come round now, So me say, what happened to the youth? Them say, I'm gone. Nobody no find it.
He says the woman had several lacerations on her body. She was taken to hospital for treatment.
She cut up, chop up, foot chip off, her belly full of water, all them thing there. A dangerous sight yesterday, man. But through the braveness of me, cause nobody now jump na the goalie fear. And nobody now stretch over in the goalie fear. Cause nobody now want drown. Father God just send me for come save her. Give thanks to my baby mother Tina. And she come take me out of my house. If it never she, that woman there that dead. The water come up, it come up to the brim. She couldn't even stand up in it. And the water just have her so. And my sister, she got dead now. So I just slap the goalie and grab her. Cause nobody at all now go against the goalie.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
I find that extraordinary. First of all, condolences to the family, the relatives of Rajon Melbourne. And thank you to Mr. Anthony Sutherland, who's quite a storyteller and obviously incredibly brave.
A very colorful individual, but as he said, thanks to Tina, who decided to get him out of bed to effect this rescue.
Thank you, Mr. Sutherland, and condolences to the relatives, the family members of Rajon Melbourne. Anyhow, over in Northeast St. Anne, listeners, 3 candidates were nominated on Wednesday for the by-election set for September 30. The nominations took place at the constituency office of the returning officer in St. Anne's Bay. The proceedings ended at 2 this afternoon, and the nominees are the JLP's Matthew Samuda, the United Independence Congress Chase Neal, and an independent nominee, David Fritz Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, also known as 5 Pound, was nominated shortly before noon. He entered the nomination centre at the Electoral office in St. Anne's Bay, flanked by 10 people to complete the process. Speaking with our news centre before his nomination, Anderson described himself as a son of the soil. He says he was not parachuted into the division.
Primarily, I'm a son of the soil. So I wasn't brought from anywhere come here. This shirt that I wore says Jamaica for a specific reason. So I don't choose a shirt that don't have anything on it. I make sure to do this as a mark to say, listen, this is to show that I'm a Jamaican, I have no other affiliation, and I'm here to defend Jamaica and Jamaicans.
That's David Fritz Anderson, independent candidate. Meanwhile, the UIC's Chase Neal's nomination was delayed as he did not initially have the support of 10 registered voters from the constituency needed to complete the nomination process. He was nominated shortly before 2. The PNP says it will not field a candidate in the election, while the JLP's Matthew Samuda was expected to have a clear run to Parliament after the PNP announced that it would boycott. Samuda is still the overwhelming favourite in a seat the JLP has held since 2001. We're joined now by candidate representing the United Independence Congress, Chase Neal, and independent candidate David Fritz Anderson. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon. David Anderson here.
All right, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, let's start with you. What inspired your interest in being a candidate in Northeast St. Anne?
The need of the people for representation and for safer communities. That's where the inspiration comes from.
And how do you provide those things, especially safer communities? How do you expect to provide that if you are successful?
All right, well, if you travel the area, you see a lot of our communities and community centers that are in deplorable conditions. Restore those, get the youth active, and mobilize them. You know, encourage our community centers to have like a learning center, you know, where kids can go and get their homework done in the evenings, things like those. Open back the training centers that has been closed down. I was born in this area, in St. Anne, and grew up in Northeast for 47 years. So that's a son of the soil. I mean, you know the ins and outs, you know what it was, and you know what it is right now. So, you know, there are a lot of things like the training centers that need to be reopen, so that people can have a fair chance, not depending on only heart for learning. They can actually have another way out.
Mr. Neil, Chase Neil, are you from the area? Are you from Northeast St. Anne?
No, I'm not from Northeast St. Anne. I have worked in Northeast St. Anne, and I have had many connections in Northeast St. Anne, but I've never lived in Northeast St. Anne.
So what compelled you to seek up this nomination?
Well, the initial candidate, the person who was supposed to run for the seat, who is actually from Northeast St. Anne, had backed out for some reason. So I was earmarked to take up for that person, to take the seat for the person, and I agreed to serve. It is important that the people of Northeast St. Anne have a voice and they're able to express their support for a candidate that is not for the government mishandling of the electoral process.
Well, I'd like to dig into that, but we're up on a break. Please stay on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Clearing personal non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:45.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs, from luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, but we feel safe at night.
Oi there, I can't pick Aki off of my tree. Are you planty? I know that. Come beat me, Cheryl, come beat me. But she I sweep up over here when the leaf them nasty up me yard. You know what? I cut this tongue.
Keela, Cheryl, how was that? Wanna stop the quarreling, no man? This no call for in our community. This no sound good, man.
Don't bother tell me nothing. You know see how Cheryl tan bad. Me pick 2 little Aki off her tree off of the limb way hang down over my yard. And here she go talk about. She go cut down tree. And that me say, so what?
No bother with no quarrel. No fight. Cheryl, no cut down the tree. Uno live good no people. Uno a big man, you know. And uno a neighbor. The picnic them a friend too. We have to set the example for the picnic them. Live good. Me a beg you no. Do.
A true ya talking a good son. Take a look at Aki them Keela. Cause for real, the limb really hung over your yard. We are neighbor. Make we start live good.
Aye. I saw it figure man. Live good, me say. Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, but we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good. I better you and I.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers, as we talk to the independent candidates currently for the Northeast St. Anne by-election. We have with us for the United Independence Congress, that's the Chase Neil, and independent candidate David Fritz Anderson. You were suggesting, Mr. Anderson, that you wanted to join the race as a way of essentially improving the security and safety of the constituency. I would like to ask you, do you have any affiliation to the People's National Party in any way?
I don't have any affiliation to the People's National Party.
Who is funding your campaign, Mr. Anderson?
Who is funding my campaign?
Yes.
Well, there are groups, different groups from Miami, Jamaica, and London.
Okay, so you have international support.
I do.
And you believe that you'll have sufficient funds to mount a challenge. I mean, this is a seat the JLP has comfortably won since at least 2001.
Well, I have the necessary requirement.
And what makes you think that you'll be successful?
No, that's not a thought. That's a knowledge. I know. That's why I said I know.
Right. So I'm asking you to share it with us. What makes you so confident?
Confident because I have the wherewithal to do what is required to win.
And where in the constituency would you say is your strongest base of support in terms of division?
Well, St. Anne's Bay, Priory, Windsor Heights, some areas of Ocho Lime Hall, and it goes wider, like Claremont.
Mm-hmm.
It goes wider there.
Okay.
So,
and
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead,
sir.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes, I am not. I'm not a stranger to St. Anne. Nowhere in St. Anne because of my affiliations, especially with soccer. That or football, as we call it here. It has led me to various areas in St. Anne that normally the normal person wouldn't really go there unless they have to. And of course, when you have a soccer match, if you see, especially for St. Anne, the amount of turnout that we have, then that should shed a light, on actually how the numbers would go because of this medium.
And what gives these international groups the confidence that you're the man who will finally unseat the JLP in Northeast St. Anne?
That's a question for them, but I can tell
No, but
you
you're taking their funding.
They know what I'm capable of. They know me. These are people that know me from, I wouldn't say Jump Street. They know me and they've done business with me, so they have no doubts to work with me. No hesitation.
So you reached out to them seeking funding?
I tell you, it's more than that. They reached out to me when they were when they were knowledgeable of the fact that I was running. Some of them reached out to me. Some I had to reach out to.
And Mr. Chase Neal, you got off to a bit of a rough start this morning, unable to initially find the 10 people. I mean, that's not exactly a good look for what is, I believe, one of the currently only 4 officially registered parties in the country.
I wasn't actually off to a rough start to find anyone. I actually had my 10 persons. The thing is, as I said before, it was someone else who was supposed to. And so I took on the baton this week. And I was unable to reach the office for the form before, so I just went for the form this morning, then went to my nominator. So it wasn't that I didn't have them, but I did not have the form so they could enter the information.
But as I said, I mean, even under those circumstances, you're vying for essentially national status with the UI through the UIC, and it does not seem as if that party is currently even potentially have its affairs in order.
You are the one suggesting that.
Your inability to actually provide the information at the time when it's needed, you need to change candidate, as you put it, because someone backed out at the last minute. That seems like the UIC is really off to a rough start. Would you disagree with that assessment?
You are saying that I was supposed to present the information during the time it was needed. I wasn't given a particular time. I brought it in during the time that was stipulated for nomination.
No, but according to the reporting, you first came into the party. Well, you came into the division. You did not have the 10 people requisite. Then you had to go and find additional people.
No, I did not say that. I said I did not have the form. That's what I said. So I went to get the person and returned with the form signed.
Mr. Neal, can you think of a time in Jamaica's history where a candidate that's not from the People's National Party or the JLP has been elected to Gordon House?
I don't remember exactly who it was, but I remember going through our historical annals that an independent candidate was nominated to Garden House. Yes.
Nominated or elected?
Elected. You can check the Jamaica Library.
When was that?
National Library. You can. I was going through some records at the National Library of Jamaica, so you can verify if you want. But yes, it has happened once.
That was the 50s,
And
60s,
it can happen if
70s?
people want it to.
How far back does that go?
That was during the 1940s, 50s, thereabout.
Right. And so I was wondering, what makes you confident that, it not having happened for so many decades, at least 5 decades now, that you're going to be the man that's going to change that?
I am confident that the people, once they understand that the system will choose what is in their best interest. That is what I'm confident about. The present system does not serve the interest of the common man. It is overrun by 2 colonial parties that are sponsored by private interests and colonial interests. The parties have to carry out the mandates of their funders, those who own them. So what we find...
Who funds the UIC?
Go again?
Who funds the UIC?
The members and donors from the UIC. UIC is owned by the people, funded totally by the people.
How large is your membership?
The last check, the last time I checked, we had around 4,000 something on file.
And that's across the entire country?
That was for the county for which I'm responsible. I'm the vice president of Middlesex.
And so your membership obviously these are deep-pocketed members.
No, we don't have deep-pocketed members. We are regular Jamaicans who want to own our movement to suit the development and the needs of the people.
If I could just ask Mr. Anderson, following up on that question about the last time an independent candidate was elected to Gordon House, let's take it for granted that you are elected, Mr. Anderson, and you get into the House of Representatives. Obviously, you'd be sitting alone, and there'd be the need to certainly. Well, I would hope that you would vote with one side or the other in terms of the agenda being advanced. Have you identified which side would command that support in terms of lawmaking?
Well, I am not into side, I'm into individuals, right? So to swing to a side, that's gonna really take away from what I believe in. I believe in that we're united. We should be a united set of people that work together for a common cause of making our communities safer, making our country a better place to live, access to the basic amenities. I mean, light and water. The amount of areas that we check it out that is without these, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and it's not accepted. In modern times like this, where everybody have access to internet, but not everybody have access to light and water. I mean, it makes no sense.
So there's not currently, let's say, a slate of legislative achievements that you'd want to say you'd associate yourself with heading into an election for power?
Yes, of course there are, but I mean, I am doing it from an individual perspective, not from a party. Not that I would swing to a party to get whatever, right? I would swing mostly to individuals because they're knowledgeable individuals that are here that actually, when it comes down to legislation, they're learned and they're ready to take the mantle on. I've had dialogue with a number of individuals already, and I mean, a lot of people are showing interest into my move, or into our move, and they are on board and ready to work.
Go ahead, Javon.
I just wanted to ask you, Mr. Neil, is the UIC making its presence known? I mean, as part of attempting to win elections, it would be required that the UIC be essentially a party that people can turn to and say, okay, this is a viable alternative. Has there been steps made to at least make the UIC known to the Jamaican electorate?
Yes, there have been many steps to make the UIC known to the Jamaican electorate. We have we communicate with the people mainly through networking on the ground and through using online and social media and so forth. Now, the thing is, the reality is that the system is controlled. It's controlled by private backers, members of the PSOJ who control the media, who control the parties themselves. Now, we have reached out many times with press releases on national issues, even with this very station, and we have received no response.
No,
So
no,
we
hold on,
cannot
no,
rely
Mr.
on the
Neil.
media.
Mr. Neil, I'm certain that Nationwide has carried media releases from the UIC before.
No, you have carried, but not all the time, because I was in
well,
the
you'd
role of
imagine that
general
not
secretary, I
all.
sent out.
You'd imagine that not all of your media releases would rise to the level of great national import. You can accept that.
But if it is that the PNP voice and the JLP's voice are carried on the platform for national issues, then it is reasonable that if another political party that's registered has a voice on the issue,
And I can guarantee you, I can guarantee you, we only carry them insofar as what they're saying is relevant. Final question to you, Mr. Anderson: if you should be elected, one of the matters that you'd be called upon to vote for or against, conceivably, is an extension of a state of emergency. How would you vote in that case? You say you want to bring security to Northeast St. Anne.
State of emergency?
Yes, that's a matter that is almost routinely now coming before the House.
State of emergency is it has its good and its bad, because we have to factor in the cost. We have to factor in there are various factors that we have to take into consideration when you using a state of emergency. For example, in the past, as we were state of emergency were actually, I think it was used as just to show that police is present or they're present out there, but there are alternate routes that moves around that. I think I would more introduce community policing, which is paramount, right? Because if you to set at strategic locations, say a checkpoint or a roadblock, you're only catering for one set of people. I mean, we are far way above that. I think technology is far way above that, with the state of emergency. We have to be more, we have to use technology to our advantage. State of emergency, I'm not in for it 100%, right? If it's required to, for a specific reason, but not as a resort to say, all right, yes, listen, this is the means by which we're going to nab criminals or whatever. It's just limiting some things, but leaving another, another network around where they can go around. Because, we might say we're smart, but the criminals are smarter.
All right, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Neil, I'm sure we'll be talking to you some more over the next 2 weeks as you vie for the House of Representatives. All the best.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you for your time. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. 3 candidates have been nominated for the by-election in Northeast St. Anne on September 30. They are the JLP's Matthew Samuda, independent candidate David Fritz Anderson, and Chase Neal of the United Independence Congress UIC. The PNP has decided to boycott the by-election.
Mr. Samuda says he's looking forward to victory.
Today is about the new phase of the journey of the development of Northeast St. Ann, and we look forward to the next phase. Once we get through the next 2.5 weeks, we expect to do very well in the by-election. We expect to be victorious, and I'm eager, and the Prime Minister can tell you to get started with the work of the day. There is many development needs of the place. There is many development needs of our people. But 2.5 weeks, we don't want to put the cart before the horse. We'll get through the finish line, and we'll do so convincingly. But I have no illusion that there is no independence in the independent.
Matthew Samuda, JLP candidate. Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson expressed confidence at his prospects of winning the by-election.
Primarily, I'm a son of the soil, so I wasn't brought from anywhere come here. This shirt that I wore says Jamaica for a specific reason. So I don't choose a shirt that don't have anything on it. I make sure to do this as a mark to say, listen, this is to show that I'm a Jamaican, I have no other affiliation, and I'm here to defend Jamaica and Jamaicans.
David Fritz Anderson, independent candidate. And Mr. Neal says he's ready for the job.
Yes, I'm ready for the process. It just feels like it's time to get to work and get the people to decide whether they will vote to support this corrupt movement by the government or they will give voice to show that we are not in line with what you are doing. The feeling is now we need to get to work. The reality of politics now is that the common man is kept out of politics because of the need for resources as it is now. With the other parties being backed by private interests and so forth, we don't have that source. So we have to use methods that are more realistic. We will be doing a lot of outreach through farming networks on the ground and also through social media.
Chase Neal of the United Independence Congress. Meanwhile, Director of Elections, Glaspole Brown, says Wednesday's nomination day proceedings in Northeast St. Ann went smoothly.
Our assessment at went very well. There was no incident that was reported to us at the end of the exercise at 2 p.m. 3 persons were duly nominated to contest the election on September 30th.
Mr. Brown says the Electoral Office will now advance preparations for the September 30 by-election. Chief among them is the training of workers and the preparation of ballots.
We will be ready to go into another phase. Now that we have the nominees, we begin to do the preparation of the ballot, the printing of the list, and putting the logistics in place, and all that needs to be done. We have identified the polling stations already. There are 146 polling stations in this constituency. On the voters list, you have 40,246 registered electors. So we are putting everything in place. The counting center is already established.
Glaspole Brown, Director of Elections. And the police report that Wednesday's nomination day process was incident-free. Commanding Officer for the St. Ann Police Division, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, says police personnel were deployed from as early as 8 a.m.
I just want to extend commendation to the police team in St. Ann for the very skillful execution of the nomination day's activity. So we started our deployment promptly around 8 o'clock this morning, where we started to man the various points within the town. The nomination lasted between 10 and 2. The effort was incident-free.
SSP Dwight Powell, head of the St. Ann Police Division. Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, says the suspected cause of Wednesday morning's explosion at a Burger King branch in New Kingston is a mixture of gas, air, and heat. The explosion happened sometime after 11 a.m. with several patrons and staff inside the store. Commissioner Beckford spoke with our news center following the incident.
As you know, gas is lighter than air, so it will seep into the building and it will be at the lowest level or lowest point of that building, which would be the floor. And so what happened is sufficient amount of it would have seeped into the building, mixed the ambient air that would have been in the environment, and that would have created, or there would have certain level of pressure that would have been built up in the building. And so that pressure, with the introduction of a heat source, whether it was the flipping of a light switch or the turning on of a cooker, that would have now presented the opportunity for that explosion.
The fire chief says there are similarities between Wednesday's explosion and another one that took place at another New Kingston restaurant in 2020.
There are similarities in that it was a similar occurrence where they smelled gas called in the supplier. They came in, did their work, and gave the all clear. And of course, they had an explosion because somebody would have now turned on a stove or light a stove. It is not connected, but they are similar in nature. The facts are almost identical. Gas leaks, melt. Staff called in the provider of the service or the supplier. They came in, did their check, take the corrective actions as they deem fit, and would have given the all clear. Staff went back in, start to do what they do, which is cook. Then the next thing you have an explosion. So they're not connected, but they are very much similar.
Stuart Beckford, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 4.99% interest rate. Yes! Shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 4.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 4.99%. Conditions apply.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker, and we start with final scores in Manning and the Custer Cup schoolboy football matches around the country. We started the Manning Cup results. Calabar High School, they beat Haile Selassie by 3-0, while St. Andrew Technical High School and Vauxhall ended goalless. Now, in the Costa Cup, last season's beaten finalist Glenmuir, they mauled Porus by 13-0. Dustin Cohen, Orain Watson, and Orel Miller all scored hat-tricks. Elsewhere in the league, Green Pond, they beat Malden by 2-1. Irwin and St. James, they ended 2-all. Mannings beat Black River 2-0. Monroe, they were leading Lacovia 1-0 the last score we had. BB Coke, they defeated Newell by 5-1. Garvey Maceo beat Veritech 1-0. Port Antonio beat St. Mary High by 4-1. Paul Bogle and St. Thomas Tech, they were goalless the last score we heard. Seafort and Morant Bay, that game ended 2-all, while Knox and Alston were goalless the last score we got from that one. Chief Executive Officer of Premier League Jamaica Limited, Owen Hill, says the move to extend the upcoming season to 39 regular season games per team is largely to give the local players more visibility. The 2024-25 season, which kicks off this weekend, was officially launched on Tuesday night at the new Kingston's offices of the title sponsors Ray and Nephew. Last 3 seasons saw the league been played over 2 rounds in the regular season before the playoffs. However, Hill told Nationwide Sports at the launch last night that returning to the 3 rounds was just the correct thing to do, and it's in line with international best practices.
When you look at the number of games that are played globally, we thought that for the development of our players, we need to actually match or supersede. We need more games. So it was a no-brainer. We were at the discussion table for quite some time. I mean, the stakeholders actually knew, and the idea of getting more games will help everybody all around. So yes, you get more playing time for players. You can, reduce strategies, etc. But you also get an opportunity to get, more visibility, etc.
And Hill says it's the intention of the PFGL to have every team going back to play at their home field once they meet the requirement.
Every team will be playing on their home ground once it is approved by the JFF Competitions Committee. So that is important. We need it to be approved, but every team will be playing on their home ground. So the teams that are coming into the league, the 2 new ones, they've found partnerships. So they'll be playing essentially at venues that can facilitate the television, but also if there's games that you may not want to play in those instances, then they'll be playing at their home venues.
And Hill says everything is now in place for Sunday's start of the league, which will feature a double header at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex.
We're very ready, we're excited, we're elated. I think the football buzz is across the world, and by extension, we in Jamaica, we look forward to just wanting to be a part of that space. And again, we're excited that we're kicking off in a couple of days' time.
That's Owen Hill, CEO of Professional Football Jamaica Limited. Cristiano Ronaldo has criticized the Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag and said the club must rebuild everything in order to compete for football's biggest prizes again. The Dutch boss is under pressure after United's 8th place finish last season, their lowest in Premier League history, and the 2 defeats in their opening 3 games so far to start this campaign. Ronaldo, who had 2 spells at the club before leaving for Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr, questioned Ten Hag's mentality. In his 6-year first spell at United, Ronaldo won 3 Premier League titles, the Champions League, 2 League Cups and FA Cup, as well as the FIFA Club World Cup and Community Shield before moving on to the Lily Whites of Real Madrid in 2009. He rejoined United from Juventus in August of 2021 and scored a total of 145 goals in 346 appearances for the club before he moved over to Al Nassr in December 2022. 20 Jamaicans will be seeking Diamond League glory when they compete in the 2-day final in Brussels on September 13 and 14. The trio of Tajay Gale, Kerry McLeod and Wayne Pinnock will compete in the men's long jump. Daniel Thomas Dodd will contest the women's shot put, while Rajendra Campbell will contest the men's event. The duo of Hakeem Blake and Rohan Watson will run in the men's 100 meters. Frederick Dakers is the lone Jamaican in the men's discus. Triple jump women will see the Shanika Ricketts and Achilles Smith. Toya Gould-Toppin runs in the women's 800 meters. Rashawn Clark and Malik James King will line up in the men's 400 meters hurdles, while Andrew Knight, Genevieve Russell and Cheyenne Salmon will run in the women's race. Romaine Beckford will contest the men's high jump, and Akira Nugent and Daniel Williams will run in the 100 meters hurdles. Meanwhile, the newly minted Olympic champion Grant Holloway has taken to social media to announce that he will not be participating in Brussels. Holloway says he and his team, they've been unable to reach agreement with the meet organizers, adding that it is a shame that they're doing athletes like that. Holloway was the odds-on favorite to be crowned a Diamond League champion after dominating the 2024 season, which saw him adding Olympic 110 meters high hurdles gold to the 60-meter hurdles title he landed at the World Indoors in Glasgow in March. A new era, a new award in honor of the legendary U.S. sprinter Jesse Owens will be presented to 2 outstanding young athletes at the Wonder Diamond League final from 2024 onwards. The Jesse Owens Rising Star Award will honor the best performing male and female athletes aged 23 or under at each Wonder Diamond League final, starting with this year's edition on the bright lights of Brussels in Belgium on September 13 and 14. A New Look England side slumped to a 28-run defeat by Australia in the first T20 International at Utilita Bowl. Australia made a blistering start with Travis Head smashing 59 from 23 balls as he and opening partner Matthew Short put on 86 for the first wicket. And just going back to that Diamond League story about the Jesse Owens Award that they intend to give for this year at the Diamond League final, Adric Swayze has been listening to that, and he has now this report.
The award, a collaboration between the Owens family, the Jesse Owens Foundation, and the Wonder Diamond League, aims to celebrate young talent in athletics and honor the legacy of one of global track and field's most iconic figures. Jesse Owens was 23 years old when he won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Olympic Games in Nazi-era Berlin, writing himself indelibly into the sporting history books. He went on to become a fighter for equal employment opportunities and against discrimination. The Jesse Owens Rising Star Award will therefore be awarded to the 2 athletes aged 23 or under in order to elevate and promote aspiring young talents in the sport. The winning performances will be decided using a point system which compares performances across disciplines, with the best male and female athletes each receiving the award. Each winner will receive a bronze statuette of Owens designed by Berlin sculptor Jan Desmaret. 2 oak trees will also be planted in the Wonder Diamond League final host city in honor of the 2 winners, in a gesture which unites both the past and the sustainable future of athletics. At the 1936 Olympics, Owens and his fellow champions were presented with an oak sapling along with their gold medals. Alrix will be reporting for Nationwide Sports.
Thank you very much, Alric. And just to tell Mr. Barnaby on the YouTube page, he says Ronaldo, that's Dennis Barnaby, he says Cristiano Ronaldo is being petty. It's your club, boss. I have absolutely no business in that. Let me continue. Trinidad and Tobago under 16 and under 18 teams are expected on the island for the Island Vibes netball tournament at the stadium courts in September 20 and 22. The tourists were previously scheduled to participate in the Netball Jamaica Youth Summer Invitational in August, but had to pull out due to flight schedule challenges. Jamaica's national under 16 team will play their Trinidad and Tobago counterparts, a 2-match series, while the TNT under 18 team will play a 2-match series against Denby High School, the winners of the Youth Summer Invitational and first holders of the Marva Bernard Trophy. Team members of the national under 16 squad, who include schoolgirl representatives from both urban and rural schools, have been in training over the past 6 months under the leadership of co-coaches Nardia Hanson and Kerry-Ann Brown, and they were selected after national trials in February. Vice President of Netball Jamaica, Simone Forbes, said the coaches and the girls are excited about the opportunity to play an international series. The under 16 teams will vie for the Island Vibes Trophy, which will be awarded to the winner of the 2-game series. And that will do it for sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited are authorized distributors of international brands ABB, Omron, STC, Festo, and Thomas & Betts. They supply programmable logic controllers, photoelectric and proximity sensors, contactors and soft starters, power supplies, variable frequency drives, and much more. Visit them at 24 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston, or shop 32 Overton Plaza, 46 Union Street, Montego Bay, or visit their website cleasling.net. Cleasing Industrial Supplies for all your industrial automation and control solutions.
Pack it on a budget, so me reach KFC. New crunchy box meal. That a for me a piece of chicken, 2 wings, biscuit, and a drink. Crunchy box of the flavor, so we make the lid. Value for your money, flavor and the taste. KFC, crunchy box run the place. So much variety, the box now no space. KFC, crunchy box run the place.
Crunch your craving with the new KFC Crunchy Box. A piece of delicious chicken, 2 hot wings, biscuit, and Pepsi for only $850. KFC is finger licking good.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
It's hard-hitting. It's riveting. It's the much-talked-about cover story during Nationwide at 5. Here Cliff Hughes get to the heart of the story of the day. Cover Story, aired 5:30 weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Nationwide at 5. Talk radio at its best. Cover Story.
Cover Story is brought to you by JTA Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Multilink, roll with control. Use Multilink, safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you for joining us, for staying tuned. Let me see how much are you watching. 1,617. Not bad at all. Thank you for watching, for tuning in. You know we want to hear from you, so we ask you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. Good evening to those of you who are in Radio Land. So today we're discussing the fiery debate that sparked conversations in the United States, yes, and also in Jamaica and other places. Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. Both political heavyweights, well, they laid out their visions last night in the U.S. presidential debate. But now we want to hear from you. Who do you think came out on top? Was it Kamala's poise and policy or Trump's boldness and directness? So in public opinion this evening, we're asking, who won the debate, Trump or Kamala? In your opinion, if you watched the debate, who you think came out victorious? Yeah? I'm going to start with the comments on our Facebook platform because we have a lot over there. I won't be able to get through all of them, but Michelle Bernard says Trump has never won anything, not even his repeated demented lies. Okay. Dixon says VP Harris was strung out the gate. The loser have a vendetta to settle and he won't win. George Elliott says Kamala wiped the floor with him several times over. And Francois Douglas says Trump by far. Okay. Detacher say made him cry January 6 and January 10. It's over. Marvin Reed says that was not a debate worth mentioning. No specifics were given and both candidates skillfully dodged questions asked. I like these varying comments that we're getting. Kevin is saying Kamala, but anyway, a rich people something that. Okay, Christopher Isaacs believes that Kamala won, hands down. Kamala also coming from Anthony Shakes. He says by far Kamala won the debate. Ernetta Reed says Kamala Harris, of course. Paul is saying Harris. Philip Harris says Kamala done him. Leave it to us Jamaicans. Kamala done him. Derek McCreath is saying Kamala Harris, she is the best. I'm seeing Kamala here from Barrett. Christine Nugent says VP Kamala Harris by a donkey length. Oh, yes, a donkey lengths. So we call it. Rodney Williams says no one won. You can't declare a winner from two losers. Wow. Horace Walker is saying Kamala by a country mile. She beat and taught Trump. All right. Shins for Life says the Europeans came to America and are eating off the... Wow. I think this is a quote she's referring to. American pets. Eating off the American pets. They're eating the dogs and cats. Trump never tell a lie. Natalie Winter says Donald Trump. Lynette Chambers says Kamala rub him out. Nothing, but I have to laugh. He was so funny. Andrew Freighter says one-way debate. It was Kamala for him. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion discussing, the fire debate over in the U.S. last night. We're asking who won the debate. If you watched it, was it Trump or was it Kamala? On X, let me see if I can get into the comments there. Christopher Clark says Kamala Harris won hands down. From the moment she entered the room, walked over to Trump and shook his hand, introducing herself. She knocked him off his composure. From there on, it was a cakewalk for Kamala, the Jamaican in her. All right, I see you there, Christopher Clark. And it was evident, that she literally walked over. Left her side, walked over to that side, to his side, and shook his hand. Wow. And she said, I'm Kamala Harris. Yeah. Truth Matters saying Kamala. Rodney Williams says no one won. Yeah. Can't declare from two losers. I think I read yours over on Facebook. Marcia Dunkley says no one. It was a 3 versus 1. The moderator showed too much bias as well. They fact-checked Trump 6 times and Kamala got away with 9 lies. Jamaicans don't pursue matters, they go with the flow. I know that there was fact-checking in real time. That much I know. All right, let me see if I can get to the comments on Instagram. Dale is asking, what was Kamala's answer when asked if she okay with the abortion? Okay, 9 months abort. Okay. All right. Jason is saying Madam VP Kamala Harris by miles. Roseanne is saying hands down or girl. She certainly put him in his place. All right. And Chris is bringing it home. Him say Andrew need to call the election. That's okay. You're focusing on our election or pending election. Jay is saying none of them won. As a matter of fact, the man gained ground politically because of ABC's bias. Okay. Josh Me Name says ABC won. D Mark is saying ABC by miles. Donny Muse is saying Trump was debating 3 persons, the moderators and Kamala. Just Peachy is saying Kamala Harris. I'm seeing Harris here from Madden Anne Marie. Harris going down. Farin Square. Trump, yeah, is coming from Donna. Night Nurse said no doubt it was Kamala. And Shambhala believes that ABC won because they went DEFCON on Trump. I think the race is Trump to lose. I think the race is for Trump to lose. That's what you're saying, Shambhala. And Caspian is saying that Trump, 3 versus 1, America is so one-sided, is a disgrace. And me, Trump was debating 3 persons one time, but Americans already know who they are voting for. And that's the question we would often ask if it is that the debate would sway voters. You know, their minds have already been made up. We ask it even out here, you know, when it's debate, when we have our debates, if any at all, debates sway the voters. Let me see if I can get to the comments on our YouTube platform. For those of you who watched here on Nationwide, because we were here up until about 10, I believe, last night. Yeah, we had a panel talking about the presidential debate, the first between Trump and Kamala. Let me see. Fertis Bartley says Trump love. She used her Jamaican charm to put him in his place. Trance, okay. Fertis, that's coming from Fertis. Let me see if I can get in some more. PB says is questioning why did the moderator keep referring to Trump as President Trump. I think, you know, that's how it is. That is how it is. They refer to the former presidents. I don't think they refer to Obama as former president. Once a president, you know. Let me see if I can get in some more. Kevin Isaac says Harris is the one that won. South Coast believes that the debate null and void. Alex Smith says Trump make me laugh. We wait till my false teeth drop out. Kamala dodged all the question. That what you're saying, Alec? That Kamala dodged the question, even the question when they ask her why her true plans, what's her true plans when she say this today and that tomorrow. Bali says, I don't care. I see you, Bali. I hear you. I see you. I see you. I see your comment. I don't care. Juliet Sanchez says Trump need to take a cognitive test. Something is definitely wrong with him. Dogs and cats being eaten. That comment was just something. That comment was something. Nicole Brown says Kamala for sure. She teach him how a woman can run America. Mario Henry says I couldn't vote for Trump. Kenny says Kamala all the way. Firestick says Kamala won. I'm scrolling up to see if I missed out any. But yeah, we had a panel late in the night, late in the evening last year. And we were talking about the presidential debate. A showdown, some would say. Firestick 4 say period. Kamala 8. Okay, this I should read this in the Gen Z's voice. Period. Kamala ate that up with no crumbs left on her plate. Okay, Firestick, I get you. Let me see if I can get in some more. Daniel Richard says Kamala all the way. It looked like she want tell him one Jamaican. Okay, one Jamaican not good word. Okay. Dennis Barnaby says I find that strange. Immigrants eat off the pets. Wow. Morris McCarthy believes hands down Kamala won. Poor Trump. Barbara Ellington, she wiped the floor with the orange man. Feline Williams saying that they tied Trump. Didn't do that bad. They tied. Trump didn't do that bad as his haters are making it out to be. Some say when Jason Simpson from Kamala introduced herself, it done. She hammer him. Okay. And we're not talking about physical violence right there. Prince Charles says Kamala win by far. Andrea Henry believes that the debate was underwhelming. Not much to write home about, with exception for Trump's lies. Yeah? All right. Sharon Forbes says it was a real showdown. It was definitely something to watch. For me, I particularly enjoyed it from start to finish. I was listening here on Nationwide because we brought it live. There were funny parts, the dog and the cat. That's all I'll say. But thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion this evening. Do stay tuned for the business report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Kingston Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robeanne Williams. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, and the International Finance Corporation, IFC, have signed a memorandum of understanding to collaborate on initiatives promoting blue-green financing in Jamaica. This partnership aims to support sustainable finance solutions, including blue and green funds, and to enhance capacity building for the local financial sector. Now, this is ultimately aimed at accelerating private sector investment in climate resilience projects across Jamaica and the wider Caribbean region. Further afield, inflation in the U.S. continued to cool last month, official figures showed, raising confidence that the U.S. Central Bank will cut interest rates next week. Consumer prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months to August, as prices for petrol, used cars and trucks, and some other items fell. That marked the slowest pace since February 2021 and was down from 2.9% in July despite an unexpected rise in housing costs. Now, the Labor Department figures come during a presidential campaign in which rising living costs have been a key issue. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 158 Jamaican dollars and 78 cents to buy $1 US, 206 Jamaican dollars and 55 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 116 Jamaican dollars and 85 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robeanne Williams. Good evening.
Outperform, outlast, guilty. We top performance, guilty. Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electricians. Pot select tools, free parts and free repairs. 3 parts, free repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
Attention all data protection enthusiasts. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM every Tuesday at 8:20 a.m. and Thursday at 8:25 a.m. for a new program, Data Protection Matters. Starting June 4, 2024, join us as we delve into crucial topics that will keep you informed and compliant. Data Protection Matters is hosted by Chuck Cameron, founder of Design Privacy, your trusted partner in data protection. Don't miss out. That's every Tuesday morning at 8:20 and every Thursday at 8:25 a.m. Stay protected, stay informed with Nationwide 90 FM and Design Privacy.
Exciting news! The Design Studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Catch
Catch the E-Zone with me, the Stinger Honeybee, alongside
Kareem Boyating.
as we turn up the heat
in the street. New show.
New vibe.
Same us.
Same us.
Monday to Friday, 3 to 5 p.m.
Right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
We'll bring you entertainment news.
We'll take away your Monday blues.
You don't want to miss a week with us.
We'll talk health.
Well,
jump into the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss the brain buster.
Or the crazy giveaways.
I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugatti.
Ow.
You have been asking for justice. Well, get justice. The Ministry of Justice presents Get Justice, a program focused on giving Jamaicans information on how to resolve their conflicts and access justice services. The series will highlight the justice services of the ministry to include social justice, estate planning, legal aid, and expungement. Join the discussion by calling 876-630-93714 or participate via their social media pages at MOJOfficialJM on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Get Justice with the Ministry of Justice every Thursday at 11 a.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media.
Ministry of Justice, come access quality service.
MOJ taking justice to the people of Jamaica.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Informative, educational, insightful. Let's talk justice. Tackling topics like constitutional rights and reform, domestic violence, and rights issues that affect you. Let's talk justice every Mondays from 1 to 2 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Call in, share your thoughts, be empowered, know your rights, and let's talk justice, ensuring access to justice for all, courtesy of Jamaicans for Justice.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really clip you, Stalky?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Click News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, Nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets? How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning as we take you into the do's and don'ts of caring for your pets. That's Pets World every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Kingston Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening. It is 6:47 and I'm Siobhan Campbell.
I'm still Ricardo Brooks.
The civil society group National Integrity Action, NIA, is adding its voice to calls for stricter regulations governing the timelines for by-elections in the House of Representatives. In a statement released on Wednesday, NIA Principal Director Daniel Archer criticized the nomination in Northeast St. Anne in which only one major political party candidate was nominated. She describes the slate as an effective lack of choice, which she says could lead to a skewed electoral outcome.
Ms. Archer says the situation is risked on each occasion where there is undue or politically motivated delay in holding by-elections. She pointed out that such delays undermine democratic representation, citing the prolonged wait of nearly a year for a by-election in South Trelawney following the resignation of a former House Speaker, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert.
Ms. Archer argues that the people of South Trelawney deserve timely representation in Parliament. She is suggesting that parliamentary by-election procedures should mirror those of the Local Government Act of 2016. Under that act, a by-election must be held within 90 days of a municipal vacancy notification. The NIA Principal Director proposes adopting a similar time frame for parliamentary by-elections to ensure a more efficient and representative electoral process. Well, to discuss this, we'll be having a bit of a powwow between myself and Mr. Brooks. This is not the first person to make this call. I believe Cafe made a similar call just a few days ago, and other groups have made similar calls in the run-up, or I should say after the announcement of the Northeast St. Anne by-election, calling it essentially a blatant political maneuver or raising concerns that this is in some way a violation of the spirit of representational democracy. What say you, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable position. I haven't heard or come across any view which I find persuasive as to why the power to call an election should continue to be one that can be exercised, essentially at the whim and fancy of a prime minister at any time during the life of a parliament. I haven't come across any argument that I've found persuasive. I think a fixed election date, or at least some fixed election period, let's say that, is desirable, and I think most reasonable people would agree with that. The certainty that it provides for representation of the people, for planning in terms of businesses, companies, organizations. We in media, it would be nice to know ahead of time when an election may come. So I think it's a reasonable position. And the argument that it has always been that prime ministers use the power to their advantage, I don't think is particularly persuasive. What bothers me, though, is I think in a lot of instances where wholeness has acted in a way that previous prime ministers have also acted, we sort of almost always hear these statements from civil society, sort of raising the specter of, democracy being undermined and that kind of a thing. And in that way, it may suggest, and I put it no stronger than that there's some hypocrisy at play. Why do I say that? For example, the way the President of the Court of Appeal and the Chief Justice, the way those two offices, those vacancies are filled, has, been this way since the beginning of, independent Jamaica. That the Prime Minister, after consultation with the leader of the opposition, shall make such an appointment. On the two instances that it was wholeness's opportunity to exercise that constitutional prerogative, there were suddenly concerns as to whether that system should remain, yeah? And then you sort of saw all kinds of editorials and op-eds about it. And I found that curious, because I wondered to myself, did we raise that when Portia Simpson-Miller had to appoint Zelia McCalla?
In the interest, though, in the manner of the Chief Justice, I think Holness put himself unnecessarily in the firing line.
No. Understand me. Separate the matter of the acting Chief Justice from the idea of who or how the Chief Justice is appointed, because I understood the critics to be making a distinction, and that distinction was it ought not to be the Prime Minister's prerogative, that we should have some kind of system where it's advertised and, that kind of a thing. I even saw the extraordinary step of a retired president of the Court of Appeal on the front page of a national newspaper, actively, I dare say, campaigning for one candidate or the other. And I wondered, and I couldn't recall, and those with longer memories can remind me, I couldn't recall a time where I saw that happening. Yeah, I don't recall when Portia Simpson Miller had to appoint Zaley McCullough that there were people saying, oh no, it shouldn't be the Prime Minister alone, you should have a panel, or it should be advertised. I don't remember that. I don't know if in the 90s when Pattison had reason to appoint, I think it was Rattray, that happened. So it seemed to me that the concern, the jitter, was about wholeness exercising the constitutional prerogative. And I'm not saying the positions that these people have advanced, that they're not worth considering, but I do question the motives, that it always seems that it's when this incumbent Prime Minister has to exercise these powers that suddenly there are voices that are elevated.
I wonder if this is more a matter of the principle of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The country has shone a light on issues of concern in more recent days that would have gone to the wayside because of more pressing issues that afflicted it in the past. And I wonder if it's such a situation where the Prime Minister and the current government has raised the bar, so to speak, of certain discourse and certain political discussions, that these matters are now being brought to the fore when we would have ignored them in the past, or at least not had the time or the mental privilege to discuss them. So this matter of constitutional reform, the matter of appointments to the public bodies.
So let me understand you. So you're saying that you think, certainly over the life of this administration, civil society and other
have been far more active. They have been far more active over the life of this administration.
Why do you think that is?
I know there's one who believe that it's a matter of just political expedience, but I don't know if I can discredit that.
Right, no. Well, I won't take that cynical view, because I think it's a cynical view. But I do want to interrogate why that is. I mean, is it because if we say it's an elevated consciousness in terms of people just being more active in governance affairs, that's not translated into actual participation in things like elections.
Which is why I've signaled out the civil society groups, not necessarily the wider public. There seems to be a disengagement in the actual political process by the wider public, but there seems to be almost a compensatory increase in the activity of civil society.
But then pause for a cause, my friend, because if the society at large is not more engaged, and we are told that civil society represents the society at large, or certainly interest in the society, it doesn't follow. Because if the society...
I said compensatory increase.
Oh, so
they're making up for the lack of other civil members taking part in the discussion.
So these specialized voices think they need to be louder because less people are participating in the democratic process.
Yes.
All right, I hear you. All right, yeah, it's an argument.
But in the instant case of the NIA's request...
Yeah, I don't think it's an unreasonable position that NIA has taken, or CAFE, in this instance.
But they cite the Local Governance Act, which even since its passage has been abused. So it doesn't seem like to be the actual remedy to the situation, because there still has to be some level of discretion to calling a by-election, and whichever party is in power will use that discretion to their political advantage, if at all possible.
Yeah, and our friends on YouTube seem to be taking the more cynical view. Donovan says he never went to JC or KC, Ricardo, and I've heard that view. That Andrew Holness, certainly outside of Portia Simpson Miller, would be the only prime minister who has not gone to a particular kind of school, or enjoys a particular kind of lineage in terms of family. I've heard that view. I don't dismiss it out of hand. I've heard that view. And then there is also the view that perhaps, he bumps up against the outer parameters of his constitutional power.
The intelligentsia is
right.
what you mean.
He bumps up against them a little bit more, and so they push back more actively. But I have to say though that I definitely recognize that in many instances, for example, again I go back to the recent vacancy in the presidency of the Court of Appeal. There were views and whispers being bandied about as to what he was going to do about that vacancy. And it almost seemed that people were readying themselves for...
They expected a fight.
Precisely, for a challenge, that they were going to stand up to him in some way. And I said, where does that come from? And then, as I said, when I saw the retired president almost campaigning, I said to myself, but surely this is improper. At minimum, it has to be improper to say who it should be and then advancing a candidate. I mean, with the greatest respect to the now president, Justice Marvin MacDonald Bishop, I don't know that it was appropriate for a former president to be in the press telling essentially the prime minister who should be appointed, because the prerogative is his. And if it were any other, and if it were any other prime minister, that would be my position. The prerogative is his or hers after the consultation that is required of the leader of the opposition. So, yeah, it's something to question, certainly. What it is about wholeness in particular. You say you think it's overcompensation for the lack of participation. I don't know, that's a charitable view, perhaps. I don't know.
I also believe that these discussions must be had. I know oftentimes we fall on the side of tradition, and I put stock in traditions and how things have always been, but there comes a time when you have to actually challenge a tradition and check, is it fit for purpose going forward? And I think that, as just with the process with constitutional reform, in many of these instances, we now look back on many of the ways that the political system has been, I don't want to use the word abused, but utilized in a way for political advantage. And I don't think it is improper for them to then say, well, should we now look at these systems and see how they can be improved? But ironically enough, though, that we went through the constitutional reform process quite recently, and many of these matters, such as fixed election dates, what was the other major one, impeachment proceedings, were simply just said no. And both political parties come to the consensus that no, we don't believe these things should be included, including voices from those same civil society groups who now come together and look at it and examine and say, well, on the face of it, we don't actually agree that these processes are needed.
I also wonder if in a small society, and I've been thinking about this, such as ours and, or friends in the rest of the Caribbean region, if the Westminster parliamentary system, if it works in such small democracies, if it's ideal for that kind of setting, because I don't know, when you have a large system such as exists in the United Kingdom, there may be more opportunities then to curtail the power of the Prime Minister through the Parliament, as opposed to here with our 63, the 48, 49 on the government benches. They're not going to move to curtail the Prime Minister's power when he knows you very specifically. You're not one of 300 and odd. You're one of 48, yeah? So I do wonder about that as well. And perhaps that's a conversation which we should be having. Not about whether a particular Prime Minister can exercise the powers, but whether the entire system as we have it is suited for our realities.
I mean, even if you want to suggest that we practice the Westminster system in all of its glory here in Jamaica, I don't know if we do.
We definitely don't, no.
But what other system would be fit for purpose? Because I think Jamaica is in that strange...
I think something of a hybrid. I think Trinidad has a system that we could look at in terms of how they've adapted it. The presidential model. They have a president, but they still have the parliament. The speaker, for example, I believe is from outside of the House of Representatives. So they've made little tweaks, yeah, that try to fit it to their reality. We can do the same.
But I don't know if there is enough voice in the parliamentary system to want to achieve such an adjustment to the overall political process, because
it serves them.
Exactly.
It serves them.
And I mean, you only hear about the cracks and the concerns when the party
when a particular party is involved.
Exactly.
And that's the point I'm making. There has to be something wrong with that. And if I remember correctly, and again, friends on YouTube, those of you who have been following these things longer than if I recall, when Bruce Golding proposed a fixed election date, I think Portia Simpson Miller said no.
Yeah.
That is my recollection vaguely, that she said no to it, but I can't recall why she said no.
And it was not. I'm not sure. If
I think he also said no to the term limits on prime ministers.
There was quite a voice of opposition to that notion of a fixed election date. And
I should look back and why they said no.
And then recall when Andrew was going for the top job, he also put forward the call for a fixed election date.
I definitely remember that. That was in 2016.
And then all of that fell to the wayside because once you get into government and you realize the realities of governance, you realize you don't necessarily want to impose certain fetters that could hurt your ability to seek re-election.
And it's why I say, as a blueprint, the ideas Bruce Golding proposed in 2006, 2007...
revolutionary if you think about it.
I think they were some of the most brilliant ideas.
The notion of independent senators.
On governance in this country. And I would want us just to look back at those. I think that should be a starting point.
But even in those...
Because I think his ideas were brilliant in terms of governance. I agreed with almost everything I read. Because I remember that I was in first year university and I was very impressed by that.
Socially, they were revolutionary, but I think many people would agree that politically, they were hurting the Jamaica Labour Party at the time.
But you see, what I will say is I think it's because there was a lack of engagement so people could understand, certainly, as I saw it, the genesis of some of these proposals and why it was so important to have that kind of governance reform that he was proposing. But a lot of it made sense. Independent prosecutor for corruption. I mean, we certainly have a director of corruption prosecution now. He wanted, I believe, a republic as well. Yeah, he had a lot of checks and balances that he was trying to achieve. And I thought a lot of it made sense.
They were well-thinking, but not expedient.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in our political history, we tend to fall on the side of expediency and pragmatism.
All right, 4 minutes after 7. Let's hear from you now. 630-937-124, 618-8255. We'll have the Watchman after the break, and then we'll take your calls.
Everybody's favorite segment.
On Sunday, August 11th, in the quiet community of Cherry Tree Lane in Clarendon, our entire nation was shaken by a brutal act of violence.
Gangsters mercilessly took the lives of 8 innocent Jamaicans, including a 7-year-old boy.
These criminals will strike again, destroying more families and more communities unless we stand together to stop them.
If you have any information that can help bring these killers to justice, please share it with the security forces.
The government has established a reward fund of $25 million for information leading to the arrest and charge of the perpetrators who committed this heinous act.
The facilitators who supply them with the arms, intelligence, and the transportation.
And those who harbor and protect these criminals after the crime.
If you know something, say something.
Call Crime Stop at 311, MOCA at 888-6622-847, the NIB at 811, or JDF at 837-8888.
Together, we will defeat the gangs
and develop a culture of peace in our country.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Watchman, exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional, Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Let Nigel go in peace. George Washington, the first American president, is credited with the following timeless quote: "Success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan." This is true of Nigel Clark, the most recent in a succession of finance ministers who failed to achieve significant growth in the Jamaican economy. Clark's singular failure in an otherwise stellar performance during his tenure at the finance ministry may be explained by the following scenario from business. It is commonplace among multinational corporations with subsidiaries or branch operations in far-flung places. When one of these starts to bleed red and to threaten the group financial performance, for the board of directors to dispatch a managing director or chief operating officer with a well-earned reputation for implementing tough draconian measures toward righting the ship. This individual, who is more often than not from an accounting background, is given a single mandate: stop the bleed. Upon arrival at post, the individual sets about implementing the most severe cost-cutting and efficiency measures. In the process, making few friends and many enemies, including the unions. After about 3 to 4 years fighting internecine warfare, maybe enduring a labor strike or two, and putting the financials in a better place, the embattled Mr. Scrooge is extracted and sent to his next mission. He is succeeded by someone with a less surgical and more engaging leadership style, better able to inspire workers to commit to growth by investing in their development and well-being. This scenario from business explains exactly the bittersweet relationship between Nigel Clark and the JLP government, of which he is a part on the one hand, and the electorate on the other, who are likely to deliver a vote of no confidence in the JLP the next time a general election is called. That the work of fixing the economic fundamentals of the economy, started by Dr. Peter Phillips of the PNP and perfected by Dr. Nigel Clark of the JLP, was urgent and necessary, was never in doubt. Jamaica was in a dark place. In a speech he gave at a breakfast hosted by the Rotary Club of New Kingston in 2018, then PSOJ President Howard Mitchell was candid in his description of an economy teetering on the edge of disaster. While enumerating a number of economic gains contained in the 6th quarterly report of the Michael Leachin-led Economic Growth Council, The PSOJ president let loose a volley of facts intended to prick the aspirational balloon being hoisted by those who would have had us believe all was well with the economy. I quote him, "I will point out that all is not roses. Our balance of payments deficit is increasing. Prices are increasing. Inflation has not met targets. The dollar has depreciated in the last 60 days. Our GDP growth rate is embarrassingly low. We remain a low-wage economy with high social and economic marginalization." End of quote. The PSOJ president ended his speech by expressing a hope which we should all share. I quote once again, "Our hope must be in a new generation of business people and politicians who have the courage to cast away the shackles of the past." End of quote. Dr. Nigel Clark has taken the economy as far as he can. Let him go in peace. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trench Town, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
To the early risers, and we are here all-nighters. But go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works. Workers, people who are powerful because they power through day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power, it's not something you can buy or collect. It is something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snack Peanuts, proud supporters of the powerful.
So, listeners, you heard our views. Now it's time for us to hear yours. Come call us. It's 630-937-124 and 618-8255.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between. Bulletins After Dark with Kareem Bulletins each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Bulletins After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Bulletins After Dark.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
$7:16, and we're taking your calls. The numbers again, 630-971-24 and 618-8255. Bobby, you're on the line.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Ricardo.
Hello, Bobby.
Yes, Ricardo, I heard your comment a short while ago, but I want to say something to Siobhan. Siobhan.
Yes.
Were you born in the time when Prime Minister P.J. Pattison, who was the Prime Minister of Jamaica?
Well, I can say most of my adult youth, Prime Minister P.J. Patterson was the Prime Minister, yes.
Okay, it seems like you are a very young man. but I want to bring back a bit of history to you because it seems like I am much older than you are. One question I would like to ask. When Prime Minister P.J. Patterson was Prime Minister, where was civil society in that time?
I mean, I would have been a child, Bobby. I really couldn't speak to the activity of civil society during that period of time. What I can say, and I agree with Mr. Brooks, that their activity has most certainly increased in more recent years under the Holness administration. I can't recall hearing much from JFJ and those organizations in the prior People's National Party administration. They spoke at time to times, but I don't recall them being this level of active.
Because trust me, what I really look on is that it seems like all these groups formed in 2016, and when they raise their heads now, it seems like everything Mr. Holness do now, they object to it and they try to bring some form of twist to it. And it is so unfair. They want this young, vibrant Prime Minister to fix things that has been affecting the country from the 80s come all the way down.
But why do you have to look at it negatively though, Bobby? Maybe they see in Mr. Holness a person who has the ability and is willing to make those fixes, whereas such an individual didn't exist before.
Well, no, Siobhan, what I am saying, just like how Prime Minister P.J. Patterson, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller, enjoy their time in office by making laws and so on, and they don't have much opposition from all the civil society to them. Give Mr. Holness a chance, man. Let he run his leg, right? And don't object to everything like that. Civil society, come on, man. And the other point I would like to make on the matter of the Integrity Commission. Way earlier on in the year, you see, when it seems like things from the Integrity Commission was pointing only on the JLP alone. And all of us used to call the station and said, no, these people sound like they are political, and I think this group should scrap and form a new one with people who are neutral and things. I hear a bishop and a member of his clergy preach one Sunday in their sermon defending the Integrity Commission. And just the other day, when the follow-up take place with the Prime Minister's statutory declaration, and I should say thanks to Nationwide again, because you people are the only people that bring the news to us, while those other stations hide it, because it is a follow-up that really make the PMP look bad, right? So I should say thanks to Nationwide, I don't hear a peep out of that bishop and the member of his clergy who was defending the Integrity Commission. I don't hear nothing out of it.
Let me say this, Bobby, because I have come to understand now, and I'm not meant to name any names, but there seems to be now an acceptance within the People's National Party that if the reportage that we put forward is true, and we'll find out come next week Tuesday, at least we hope that's when the report is going to be tabled. If that turns out to be true, that the Integrity Commission spent the better half of 3 years squabbling over 400,000 Jamaican dollars, that they still could find nothing irregular, that there are questions that the Commission has to answer for. Even that reality is now sinking in at the People's National Party.
True. You see, and one final thing. My friend said to me, see, that $400,000, is what him spend at the bar.
All right, Bobby.
Okay then, here, cool.
Carl, good evening.
Chev, good evening.
Evening, Carl.
How you do, man?
I'm alright. You good?
Yeah, how you mean, man? The head of the... I name the man or the head of the Electoral cafe. You need to find something to go and do. If you can get one big case, if you can go up and top waste time. That is the advice I have to give to you, sir. All of you know, wake up now. What is wrong? You know, get up half in the bathroom for Monday evening, because that the report will come out Monday evening. That's not what none of them was looking for. Them all was getting ready. All of them was getting ready.
Again, I say, Carl, as I said to Bobby, there are people in the People National Party who feel that this can't be the fullsomeness of that report, and they're waiting for the proverbial other shoe to drop.
Yeah, man, the 17 is just a few days around. The 17 is just a few days around. Tuesday, we can't take off a half day from work and get 2 Heineken and sit down and drink, because it is a spoiled egg in a Dayton Campbell face and a spoiled egg in a Mark Golden face. There's nothing to go to the conference with Sunday. Anjo declaration was to carry down the government Sunday.
Do not underestimate the ability of the political directorate to spin things, Carl. Don't say that there's nothing to go to a conference. Do not underestimate the ability of the political directorate to spin.
To the conference Sunday evening. I'm going to give you something. There is 2 caretakers. If Mr. Golden sit beside those 2 caretakers and name them for the running of this election coming up, anytime it comes, as a caretaker, then I understand Mr. Golden concerning integrity. One is in Hanover and one is in Clarendon concerning Sunland. You hear me talk about it already. Those 2 cannot name to run Mr. Golden until they go clear themselves. They have to go get themselves clear. 1 block for him in a court, Mr. Golden. And you can't have them running. You have to ask them to step aside and cannot run Mr. Golden. And you, Chef, I come to you now Friday evening. I was coming from the airport and stop down at Gloria downtown.
You have money, man.
If you feel to say me not doing well,
in Carl, you have money. You nobody ignore me.
I'm a party in a power, man.
Oh, I see.
You forget. And you say economy doing well, man.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We could have find $3 billion for fix back school without borrow.
Okay. So you got Gloria go buy big fish.
Me say we could have find $3 billion without have to borrow. But
all right.
I'm here Friday evening. Well, I was inside the line downtown, Gloria, Friday evening. And a gentleman was in front. 2 persons in front of me, so I met the 4th person. And when you was talking, say, whatever I'm doing, that's helping my party, a gentleman was listening to his phone. Man, I own business right up in a New Kingston. And when he hear me, the man touch me and say, hold on, man, come here, man, you're done, come here. And before me left down at Gloria, me meet 10 somebody who want to meet me. And Sunday evening, Sunday gone right here, so all of the 10 person called and tell me that one of them couldn't bear to hear PJ Patterson and Mrs. Gludan concerning Mr. Thiago. And one of the men said to me, say, Carl, you must choke them. Don't let it go. The person I want to say to you, I am wondering also if PJ Patterson will be at the conference listening to Mr. Thiago Sunday. Because Mr. Thiago will be talking. He's a white man.
Carl, don't bring that again, please.
Hold on, Chev, hold on, man. Remember PJ Patterson tell we say, if him come down off of the platform and mingle amongst us, nobody can recognize it different. That statement must never let go. We are into a season now.
I disagree with you, Carl, but that statement should not be let go.
Hold on, Carl, hold on. You say that statement should not be let go.
No.
Why not?
Well, thank you very much. If then the time there, a white man should lead me, why we must accept one now?
Well, I'll tell you something. Carl. Here's my view of it.
Yes.
In the 90s, it would have been the early 90s when he made that comment, yes?
Yes.
We were certainly less conscious, let me put it that way, of the ugliness of racial politics.
Okay.
And
hold
on, let me finish.
I'll accept it.
And where we were conscious of it and did it, it was an insidious thing that we should have never practiced, and we should stop it.
Okay.
Would you accept that?
I'll accept it in some ways, but not fully.
Okay. Why?
And the reason why, up to I think it was in a nomination for the local government election, the PMP was still playing them songs. We lead the Banya.
Oh, what? I don't know. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear it.
Up to local government election.
I didn't hear it. And I...
Right.
Oh, okay.
So we lead the Banya. And me...
But didn't the JLP do a sort of remix of that song recently?
I think as I'm into a group where we have a problem with the person who could find something better else to do more than talk about that foolishness. Because it was a race song. But I am going to watch the PMP conference Sunday as I want to see if Mr. Patterson will be there.
All right, Carl.
I want to see. Then I will understand how we did see things those time and how we see it now. And I hope Mr. Patterson will take the white man and lead him off of the platform and say, all are we a black person here. But this man is a white man. But Mr. Patterson will do that.
Okay, Carl. Donovan says it hurts labor rights until this day, Ricardo. I accept that, Donovan. In fact, when I hosted Nationwide this morning, I recall doing a What's on My Mind about it. And I did say, if I recall correctly, that I think the country needs truth and reconciliation on a whole host of things. I think, frankly, terrible things were said and done over those, certainly the 70s and the 80s, those 2 decades. Terrible things, the history tells us. And I don't think the society has ever faced some of the ugliness that occurred. And it also should be said, and I've said it before, there are no people who masquerade in positions of authority and seek to speak with authority who have questions to answer about their role in the ugliness of that period and the divisiveness that still lingers to this day. I've said that before, and I stand by that. There are those people. And so I understand that there are people who are hurt and who find it hard to let it go. I get that. Siobhan and I are, and a lot of younger people are not as bogged down by that kind of politics. But I understand. I'm not at all dismissing the hurt feelings and the feelings that linger and the resentment that linger. I think I saw a tweet, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, and somebody said, when I think back to what they did to Mr. Siaga, it still breaks my heart. Yeah? And, if you talk to comrades as well, they will tell you that they are hurt by things that they allege happened at the hands of Labour Party supporters. So I get that people are hurt.
And I understand the period of time in which this happened. This is literally during or immediately after the civil rights movements here in Jamaica and over in the United States. So I can understand how the racial politics was very charged back then. And I suppose I have to accept that many of the political representatives that we still have today in the House and the upper house come from that period of time.
Yes.
And not exactly...
And not just in the politics, in civil society.
Yes.
At the Bank of Jamaica. In several influential
places. Are you hinting
places.
at some things?
No. I'm saying, I'm speaking a matter of fact. I'm not hinting at anything. I am saying what is factual. In many influential halls of power in this country, there are people who occupy positions who had roles, I put it no stronger than that.
In the ideological struggles.
And the ugliness that it represented. That is a fact. It's a recorded historical fact. Yes. And those people should.
And they're still our representatives.
Absolutely.
And I suppose when a lot of people.
Considerable power. And they should be made to give account for their role so that we can have truth and reconciliation. I think my generation would like to see that. And so the generation of like my grandmother, who harbors a lot of that hurt and talks about it in very emotional language, so that they can finally heal and let it go. Yeah.
I suppose it's not one of those things that you can just leave dead and buried.
We've tried to do that as a society. I think we've just moved on. We sort of move on from a lot, We sort of move on from a lot. Because when I think about things like the evening tide fire, those things horrify me. That something like that could have happened.
And you read the historical record of and the anecdotal understanding of what fueled those events, and you realize that Jamaica was stuck in quite a quagmire between two world powers which were pulling the country in two separate directions, and the bloodshed and violence that came about as a result of that.
Yeah, a lot of the things I've come across and heard about, it's horrific, and people need healing. I agree, I accept that, but I don't think the answer is to perpetuate it, to say that you did it to us in the 80s and 90s, and we now have a chance to do it back to you. I just don't think that's the answer.
And if people keep pointing out that the modern electorate is very turned off from the process, events such as these turn them off.
And it turned off because, to be fair, a lot of the electors, your age, my age, Dana's age, we don't have the lived experience of that. So we do not share the sort of venom and anger, and emotion that is raw and present for a lot of people. Yeah. Denzel is asking if we have moved on or we just hid it away from our minds. I think a lot of people just put it from their mind and moved on, or tried to move on. Yeah. But when I talk to my elders, and they share with me, I get that people are hurt. Yeah. What is wrong with Brandon Ormsby? What? Why are you rushing us? Is there somewhere you need to be, Brandon?
He said no. He's saying we're not bringing on the callers.
Okay. 630-937-124-618-8255. Who is next, Dana? Alric. Good evening.
Good evening, Siobhan.
Evening, Alric.
Good evening, Mr. Brooks.
Hello, Alric.
The evening after the big night.
Listen, hey. Listen, I don't know. Alric. Look at him, man. Alric.
Yeah.
Siobhan and I were in the newsroom.
Yes.
And Siobhan, him kind of sympathetic to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And Siobhan take out him notebook, because him ready for write down all of the ways Kamala Harris failed.
Yes.
I see him write down 2 sentences in about the first 20 minutes.
And finish the sentences?
No. And then I see him lock his notebook and I hear him to me now. Well, I don't really think there's anything much to record. I don't think I have to take any more notes. Alric, it was amazing.
That was a misrepresentation of the facts. If you actually believe that.
Alric,
I was trying to keep track of the debates to see where points were scored on both sides and where points were missed. And I just realized, after 20 minutes, I said, Jesus, this debate really are going for another 40 minutes. No.
Alric, he thought that Trump was going to do well. Never work out for him.
No. My expectation of Trump was him to be Trump. What I didn't expect was for Kamala Harris to literally railroad him into a corner.
Wipe the floor with him. Loved it. Yes.
You remember, Mr. Brooks? I'm tell you that we're going directly deal with Trump case properly.
But it even brings me further. What is existing in terms of the political leadership on the Democratic Party before that? Because I don't recall Clinton or Biden being able to tackle Trump in the manner in which Kamala Harris took him on yesterday.
And it's not just Biden or Clinton. I don't think
the Democratic Party
and the Republicans that he has faced in debates. I don't think anybody has performed this well against him at all. He has been able to, even where they win on substance, he still has been able to dispatch them in terms of style and bombast. He was just completely out of it.
You want me to tell you what the answer is? 5 P's. P, 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 P. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Kamala prepared for it. And she went at him in his weak spot.
Yes.
And when he tried to go low, she stayed high. Took the high moral.
Well, me no know, but that's not missing to my time. When he went low, she went to hell. Because when she said, there was a scene, you know,
former president,
when he was talking and she said, and this, and she paused. And your guess is as good as mine. Any
I wonder
word
if that was rehearsed.
You can put in any word, not a silence. Dana, as Dana said to me, Dana looked at me and Dana said, I was a pregnant pause. I have 2 words. I think I have 2 words in mind I think she wanted to say there. And then she just said, this former president.
She couldn't say it.
And the contempt.
She had fired me.
It was so good, man. He went low and she went to hell.
I'm still disappointed that Nikki Haley didn't stay in the race.
She would have been a formidable challenger. Yeah.
Ricardo, you agree with me now that she's going to get even a 5-point bump?
Me no know. I still don't know about that.
Well, she's up 2.
You still don't know about that?
She's up 2 points now.
Yeah, I'm still not sure if you're going to get to 5 points, but I think she'll see a bump.
She's up 2 points now, so clearly she's benefited from that debate.
She wins.
Yeah, I think if what you're saying is true and she gets that 5-point bump and then her lead expands to 7 percentage points, yeah, I think that would. All right,
before I go, I was listening to Carl and then I listened to you guys monologue. And Siobhan is too young and maybe you're not here. But
we're
the same age. Siobhan and I are the same age, Alric.
Well, you guys are too young to understand the bitterness that is coming back from the 70s.
And I truly don't understand it.
You do understand?
I don't understand. I said,
I think I understand it. I think I understand it. I think I understand it. But
we lived it.
But my question, though, Alric, even though I understand it, is: will there come a time when we recognize that it is in our national interest to heal and to move on?
Use the right term. Truth and conciliation must be had. You remember how Donald Trump did Mrs. Clinton? She'll never forget him, you know. And that's the same sort of thing that is in Jamaica now. They did Mr. Seaga so bad.
Yes.
It has left a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouth. And a lot of people won't let it go. They really, really took him to the cleaners, man.
All right,
and it has created a lot of problems in this country. And as you guys say, truth and conciliation is the only way I think we'll have to go. And a lot of people are in influential positions though, who are part of that age. And they shouldn't be there.
All right, Alric.
Have a good evening, guys.
Cheese D-Man says you need more than 3 points over Trump to win the Electoral College against him. And that's why we're saying if Alric is right and 5 plus 2, that's 7. She would win.
Yeah. And I suppose that is the unique predicament of the U.S. system, where the popular vote is important, but it's not that important.
I don't know that Electoral College, a remnant of slavery. It's such a fundamentally undemocratic institution.
As you pointed out, it's a remnant of the Civil War period, where they agreed that in most instances, a presidential election would essentially just go to the northern states. End of discussion. And they said they had to put together a system to ensure that they felt was fair to more southern states, which are not as populated.
Brick Road says, NNN, listen to this one, NNN is guilty of facilitating this racial tone that Carl and others bring. Tone down and let's focus on the issues. Facilitating this racial tone.
Beyond allowing Carl to talk on a platform, I don't know how we facilitate it.
But I don't know a single host here who doesn't caution Carl and stop Carl when he goes on his racial rants. I don't know a single host here who doesn't do that. Who's next, Dana? Willow. Good evening, Willow.
Good evening, Siobhan and Ricardo.
Evening, sir.
Yeah, man. On the evening.
Doing all right.
Doing good.
All right. Well, you have 2 questions, but the credit soon run out, so go on the first.
Sorry
the first
about that,
one,
Willow.
Quick. Yes. How much the account of the that they are investigating for the Prime Minister. It's how much money?
Willow. You know, you're the chairman of the Integrity Commission, so you mustn't talk about these things until they're tabled.
It will be breach of the law.
Breach of the law.
Man, they lock you up in a Willow.
But if me are the Prime Minister, my mother and my grandmother account is that me don't shame. Me don't shame bad. If you even come public, for hear it in a public. Say my mother and my father and this account come up to that. Me not shame. Me I tell you the truth, Ricardo and Siobhan, I don't be ashamed, man. Yeah, man. If you know, say I'm me at the head of state, and I saw them accounts there. But let me move on from there. Me I watch me news a while ago. And I see the people in Amant Bay I demonstrate for by-election for the councillor. But them hear them leaders say them not contest no by-election for this year.
No, I think he said he would contest the divisional by-elections, the municipal ones, but he won't contest the ones for the House of Representatives.
So why the one for the division and not the major one?
I don't recall. Siobhan can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall him giving a reason for the distinction. I don't remember.
Do you want me to give the reason he's given, or the reason you believe? I believe that he is not contesting them. So I will give you the reason that he has put on paper as to why he will contest the divisional ones at the municipal level and not the general election. He says at the House of Representatives level, we have a general election due within a year, or at most, I believe, 13 months out. And he believes with such a period of time, such a limited period of time, that the focus should be on having a general election. At the municipal level, however, there is no election due for at least another 3 years, because we just had that local government contest, and he believes in those instant cases we should have by-elections to bring people back into those areas that will be without representation for any extended period of time. That is the reason given on paper.
Well, that reason, but I think we can go with it, because just as how him see it that way, I see that time come. So test the big water to see where it is. Test the big water to see where it is. But get your people out.
And this is me just giving my opinion now. The municipal ones that they have said should be contested are ones where they have a potential to win. Whereas the House of Representative elections that are coming up are not ones where they have a realistic proposition of victory. That is my opinion, though. That is not coming from the mouth of Mark
Siobhan. If the time come and you're ready, a long time they said they're ready. So go and test it because they're ready. Because, let me tell you.
Caller, if the People's National Party felt that they had any chance of winning South Trelawney, Northwest St. Andrew, or Northeast St. Anne, they would be contesting those elections. Not even a question.
All right.
So
with them not ready yet. So let me tell you, as the first one, me can be the head of state and my mother poor. I mean, I said my mother. So
don't make the mistake of thinking that Holiness's mother is quote unquote poor. Everybody has bank accounts and multiple bank accounts, and sometimes they don't even know they have X bank account with such balance. Sometimes,
but a little balance. God have mercy, man. No, sir, that can't even pay down on a Pro Box. Have a nice evening.
All right, Willow. Albert, good evening.
Good evening. You know what I call about, I won't even go there because, let me say something. How long ago Miss Gludan died?
I don't remember.
Okay. Now, what has Ms. Gluden has done after all of these years that people come and call up our name? PJ Pass retire and gone in yard safely. What is it? Don't call supposed to have enough that his government performance has given him. That he can campaign and leave PJ Patton and Ms. Gluden out.
I don't disagree with you. I've said it to Carl before.
For his information, PJ come conference up to last year, even when he never fully recover. And he'll be there this year. And I want to ask you, gentlemen, a question. Is anything wrong in speaking the truth?
No, there's nothing wrong with speaking the truth.
Huh?
There's nothing wrong with speaking the truth. But the truth from whose perspective,
So when
though?
he said my leader born here, a lie?
Oh, that's what you mean. Oh, well, okay. Hold on. Oh, okay, no, I can answer with better context. No, it's not a lie. But it is a kind of what they call nativism. Yeah? Which is to suggest that somebody, because they are not born here, and who was dedicated.
No, you can't put any spin.
No. It's not a spin. No, it's not a spin. You say.
And our current leader born here too.
Hold on. You said to me, if there's anything wrong with speaking the truth, let us be clear on what the truth was about how that song was used. That song was to suggest that Mr. Siaga was somehow alien, foreign, different, other, and therefore was less committed to Jamaica and the Jamaican people. That is the truth.
Did that song have a multiplicity of different things in it?
I'm saying to you.
I told just my leader born here.
No, there were more lyrics. Obviously, there were more lyrics.
Yes, so why just pick out one?
Because that was the most potent part of the song.
All right. So when they played it up to the local government election, is leader born here?
When who played it?
We still play it.
We, who's the we? Who's the we?
We PMP still play it. Because we leader still born here.
Right.
So why is it upset the JLP? They try to copy it. I never work out. We didn't say anything about that.
And that's the point I made to Carl just now. Yeah.
And the next thing.
Yes, sir.
You people, you know, my mother tell me that people see what they want to see. When Portia Simpson was Prime Minister, there was never a time, I'm 77, and there's never a time I know civil society was as active as then. Every time she have to give a report. Carl Narcis and all of that group. You remember that group?
No.
The church, everybody. And you are behaving as if
hold on,
No, you're making a mischaracterization.
I won't say mischaracterization. I want him to explain to me. In what ways did that happen? Remind me.
When Portia
He's talking about the national
group
that was set up.
The group headed by Carl Narcis. Remember at that time, they even have demonstration with the 2H group, what's his name?
With which group?
2H group, man. This is what you talk about. Jamaican for Justice. Jamaican for Justice was so buoyant that time under the PNP government.
Yeah, right. I want to correct that. Hold on. Right. I want to correct that in terms of JFJ. JFJ has certainly been active. I think Siobhan said they weren't as active under the PNP. No, JFJ has certainly, in my estimation, been active across the board. From Carlin Gomes.
Far more active than
for
now.
Sure. Well, okay. All right, if you say so. But no, go back to that point about civil society under Portia Simpson Miller. That's what you said.
Yes. Carl Narcis, I remember that name like I read in a book.
And what was it that Carl Narcis was advocating for?
Everything that Portia did, civil society raised thing about it. She must come back and give a report where she go. She don't need to attend meeting. Technology can stay here, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember everything toe to toe, but I can tell you, and anybody that is honest will tell you, how civil society, even the group that this guy that his wife was a part of, Young Jamaica, I don't remember his name, but she used to host multi-program sometimes. Do you remember that name?
No.
Jones something another?
Oh, yes. She used to host Perkins Online sometimes on a Friday, I think. Yes.
Her husband also had a group, and then they join up with the Bruce Golding party, that Bruce Golding farm.
And you're saying at that time they were challenging Portia's exercise of her prime ministerial prerogative?
Everything that Portia do.
That's not my recollection, but okay.
No. And I said them about I said, my mother tell me that people see what they want to see.
Yeah.
I remember what they want
I
to
remember Mrs. Simpson Miller being challenged for other reasons related to her performance in office. But not, remember what we're talking about, the exercise of her prerogative as Prime Minister. I don't recall that being challenged.
You don't recall that?
I recall people criticizing her for their perception of her competence in office. That's what I recall.
You remember that the most honorable Andrew said how much time he would have demonstrated and would not sit in parliament with certain people?
That's not, but Andrew Holness wasn't civil society. But that's not. But my brother, that's a different thing. We were talking about civil society. Be very clear what we're talking about. Civil society
executive power of
challenging the Prime Minister's exercise of his executive power. That's what we're talking about. Andrew Holness deciding he was going to sit in Parliament with whoever or whatever was not civil society action. He was acting as the opposition, parliamentary opposition.
Well, I can tell you, it was a PMP that walked out the other day when Andrew walked out. I know that still have them on the cross now halfway tree.
But the People's National Party has walked out of Parliament before.
On numerous occasions.
During a budget presentation?
Oh, you mean during a budget presentation?
Okay,
well, that was... Okay, that's what you mean. All right.
And I mean, I tell you that sometimes I listen to your people because what I actually wanted to talk to you about was Nigel's performance as Minister of Finance. Because it is said on your station, as a matter of fact, one of your hosts was so out of order to say, even if you have a government change, you would like Nigel to be the finance minister.
How is that
said on your program?
But how is that out of order?
It was not a host that said that. I recall what he said.
President of it.
Yes, and what's the issue with that?
How is that out
of order?
How so?
Let me ask you a question.
No, answer ours first before you ask us one. How is it out of order?
Nigel don't have the sense more than everybody else.
Come again?
Nigel no brighter than everybody else.
Okay.
And for him to go on national radio and say, if you have a change of government, he would like Nigel to be the finance minister.
And he's not entitled to his opinion?
So that is his opinion of Nigel's performance.
No, okay.
Right.
What is his opinion today?
What is his opinion today? What do you mean?
That was his opinion. That if
everybody talk. When the JP got the government and the Mr. Lee Chin and all of them formed the Growth Council, what was their prediction?
5 and 4.
How much did they give us? I don't want to hear about
no, wait, I'm trying to understand the link. Hold on. You lost me. Hold on. You've lost me. I'm trying to understand the link. What's the link between the 5 and 4 and the call for Nigel to remain?
In that, when they got the economy, it was on a projection that they think they could have grown 5 in 4.
Okay. Right, or they, all right, okay.
It was not,
they made a promise. Okay, I'll take him at his word.
Well, it's a promise or a commitment, which one?
Whichever word you're most comfortable with. A promise or commitment?
The Prime Minister saying don't give promise and give commitment.
Okay, I'll accept that. So the point you're making now in relation to the...
What is the economy like today? How much is projected to grow in the next year?
So you're saying that because it has not grown 5 in 4 years, then Nigel, people shouldn't want him to remain?
I did not say that.
That's what I'm trying to understand the point you're making.
Then try to make the links to your point.
Yes, I can respond.
You people said.
Who is you people? When you said you, who's you people?
Nationwide, headed by Mr. Hughes.
What did Nationwide say?
That Nigel are the best finance minister we have since independence.
Okay, and I have said that. I want to hear you challenge this now. Go ahead.
You want to hear me challenge?
Yes.
When they come to when he took it, inflation was 3%.
Lie. Blatant bloody lie you just tell, sir.
What?
Blatant damn just lie you tell, but when they took the government, inflation was 3%. Lie.
What it was?
In the 20+% range. Lie. Start to lie. Lie.
Can I ask you a question? Will you apologize for when I check out and find the fact that 2016 inflation was 20%? That's what you're telling me? No, that's what you say?
Inflation rate is currently 5.1%, sir. When no, sir. There was inflation was not 3% when the Andrew Holness government took over. It was not.
It was.
Let me pull it up for you right now. Inflation was in the double digits.
No, go make the next point while he pulls it up. Make the next point.
How much was our per capita income?
That one I can't tell you the exact per
No, but him pulling it up so he can't tell us everything.
He's pulling it up on the Bank of Jamaica's website, but in the meantime, make the next point.
No, I wait for him to respond.
No, but we can't just have dead ear, because
Well, I'll log up and him can't respond. He tell me like I'm a damn liar.
But I still don't understand. What is your difficulty with somebody's opinion? Who do you think was the best finance minister?
Eric Bell.
Why?
Because I see what he has done during that time.
What then these are and there are people
you wouldn't know because you wasn't
right, and I'm saying to you there are people who now, based on their lived experience, have seen what Nigel Clark has done and they think he's the best finance minister.
And what Nigel Clark has done other than pay down the debt.
So why but you say other than pay down the debt as if that's not a significant achievement?
What's the condition for our
all right. So in paying down the debt, yes? Isn't that what's facilitating the building of new hospitals to create more spaces?
What you're saying is that people must dead in the meantime.
No, what I'm saying to you, sir, is that in paying down the debt, you create more space to do the things you're calling for.
But in the meantime, people are dying.
And in the meantime, there are investments being made in these critical areas.
You mean like the hospital at 2 billion and with 20 billion?
And when the People's National Party was in power, what was the situation in the hospital? Nobody was dying in the hospitals, eh?
People die every day.
I am glad you say that. And we can end on that point because you've made the point. Thank you, my brother, for the call. We're out of time. Dana Davy, thank you. Andrew Glenn Anderson, thank you so much. Our colleagues in the newsroom, headed by our editor, Kimon Thompson. Hey, Cara. Cara is on leave. Miss Cara. I still love Kimon same way. My colleagues in the newsroom, thank you all so much. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good evening.
Taboo topics. Boy, things after dark.
Riveting discussions.